Welcome to Yerba Talks.
Welcome to the Aftershow. I am Max. This is Kat, also known as El Gato. And today we have a debate between Jvnior and John. Getting the link there, Isa. You can always just copy the URL to send to people. All right. I can hear you now. Welcome. How you doing, Isa? All right. So, okay, before we go do anything, make sure to do the social thingies, like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send it to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your screen, and you'll subscribe to Yerba Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. Victoria says, just realized the song doxes Max's cat's real name. Yes, it does. All right. Let me get the link over here and we'll pin it and we'll be off to the races. I got so bored.
Were you entertained? Were
No.
you entertained?
Not even close. I was bored. About half of Jvnior's opening, I was like, oh no. I started nodding off. I told Lisa, I'm nodding off. I'm going to drink a coffee because I don't want to fall asleep. Like that one time that we did the after show, but I slept through the whole debate or half of it, at least. All right. Openings. Jvnior's openings. Bunch of internal contradictions. Made argument. Well, he said he wasn't going to make the scientific argument for the Quran because the Quran is not a scientific book, and then said the silly thing about the sperm and the backbone and the ribs. So, just in case you don't know, the semen as a whole is made in two separate parts of the body. The swimmers, the spermatozoids, are made in the testicles. And the liquid part is made on the seminal vesicle. And the seminal vesicle is right next to the prostate on the floor of literally the undercarriage of man. It's like if you go from the testicles a little bit up, a little bit back, and it's on the horizontal section, like between the anus and where the testicles start. So that is way lower than the backbone and the ribs. There's no freaking way you can make. And the one thing I can grant Nadir is that he knows that fact, and he uses the conduct where those things are integrated, because the conduct does go above and into the urethra. But it's just a silly claim, just super silly. I tuned out like right after that from his opening. Ina Gartensan 420, yeah, hashtag. Who the fuck is Dave? I don't know. They've been doing that for a while, and I do not know who Dave is. Tim Davidson for $5 says, I walked into a forest that gives you pronouns and accidentally touched some poison ivy. Now I'm she. Yes. All right, Isa, thoughts on Jvnior's opening?
Well, so his goal is to show that Islam is
the goal is to prove that Islam is superior to Christianity, right? That's what his goal is supposed to be in this debate. I think Jvnior, he had a presentation, which is good. You know, he has his traditional kind of charm and swag that he brings to these types of debates, you know, whether you like that or not. You know, if you like President Trump's charm, you know, it may appeal to you, it may not appeal to you. He had an interesting aside to share with us about Dr. Wood and AP Ridwan and Sam Shamoun.
Sam Shamoun.
Yes, he had some very nice language for all three of our best friends here. So that was an interesting thing to see in the debate. And Dr. Wood had a lot of presentation in the debate. There was many images of him, which I thought was quite interesting. His arguments for Islam, I think they're very standard. He used very standard argumentation. But it wasn't like it's a very kind of like mainstream kind of perspective on Islam. He didn't take like the very nasty route that some debaters take. So I like that. It's actually it's funny that it's mainstream in the world and which is funny, but it's very unique on the Muslim debater platform because it's a lot more kind of, you know, moderate, you know, progressive, but I would say more moderate. I would say that Jvnior is kind of moderate to conservative Muslim, right? Where you have people who are just full blown over the cliff, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Auditors. So he is far more restrained, and I would say he fits more like your kind of mainstream Sunni circle. So like he's gotten better at debating. That's one thing I'd have to say. Like he's reined in a lot of stuff. The Pokemon thing was quite interesting, where he said, "Who's this pagan?" And then he put his opponent being John Steele. I thought that was intriguing. So he likes to be a bit outlandish. His outfit, you know, he had his kufi and his thoban because it's Ramadan now.
I forgot. Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem, yes. So he did. I think for what it is, he did a serviceable job for what he needed to do. He gave arguments for Islam. He likes to say this point that Jesus is worshiping God, and so we need to worship Jesus as God. He likes this like rhetorical narrative he likes to spin. Okay. But I would say that overall it was, you know, kind of very mainstream Sunni Muslim narrative, and for what it is, it's not terrible, it's not bad. I heard you said internal contradictions. I mean, like, the difficulty is religious stuff always has that kind of stuff. Like, we just have to be honest about that. This is a weakness that we're going to see in most religious narrative conversations. But I think for what he was doing, it wasn't bad. He made an argument for why Islam is good. He talked about infanticide, like the female infanticide. He talked about, what was it? Like the inventions. I think these are all pretty standard arguments. And when you put them together, I think it works well. So I think he made a coherent argument, whether it's completely internally logically sound. I think for what his goal was, I think it worked.
All right. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5 says, funny, as a Luminous Pooh, I was going to say, mine is she, it. Thank you so much. All right. And then we go to John. John's opening a little bit of the pages of IP, which is making a bunch of claims, citing a bunch of stuff, and it really leaves me nowhere. So I don't know. It was very underwhelming for me. Both openings were like, "Oh, is this it?" And the open discussion kind of took along the lines of the level of the opening. So I wasn't blown away either way. He presented the Islamic dilemma, and also John both actually scatter like shotgunned a bunch of points, which is never it's never interesting because they don't get to speak about the majority of them. So I'd rather someone just do 3 arguments and have them flash them out than just throw 10 arguments and speak about 2 for 45 minutes and then just do one halfway or something. It's strange. But we heard about the onomastic congruence again, which I think it's just a bullshit argument by someone that made by an extremely biased person that wrote a book and made a study that someone else repeated and so on. We'll get to investigate and the onomastic congruence bullshit at some point. Then I also kind of tuned out, kind of bored. Let me see if I made any notes. No, this is in the open discussion. But yeah, one of the things I said to Isa on our Discord chat is I think both today just made a bunch of claims. That was kind of what I saw for the openings. So what did you think about John's opening, Isa?
So what makes John good? He's much better on his own podcast. I've watched his debates. He's very good at one-on-one debates with Muslims. He's far more impressive there, I think, because I think there's a lot more like control that he has probably in kind of framing the narrative, but he looks a lot stronger there on his channel. Here, I feel he was too intellectual, and I think that hurt what he was doing. He made very extreme intellectual arguments that I don't think would be persuasive to a modern audience. And I don't think he really persuaded me of why Christianity is good. You need to make emotional arguments for this. For example, if I were to debate as the Christian apologist, I would say, look at our hero. Jesus is like really, really awesome. Yes, Jesus is Jewish. That is correct. But Jesus taught all communities. That's what's amazing is he's the king of the Jews that goes beyond that, and he comes to all of humanity, and he sacrifices himself for all of humanity. There aren't heroes of the time that showcase that. He's amazing at that time, and he's amazing now. And the problem that I would have as the Christian apologist is Islam doesn't really honor Jesus. It makes him a prophet, but the way that we view Jesus is so much higher. It's so much more exalted. And the reason why he's exalted is because we see him in our Gospels as this exalted being. He's loving, he's compassionate, he's transformative. He's shaped all the religions across the world. His impact is the greatest impact more than any other individual. And he's so, despite the odds of everything and having unlimited power, he gives up all of his life for all of humanity. What a great sacrifice that is. See, and then talking about his life and all, how he said, give your cloak if someone desires it. Like, these are the types of things that I would think is far more compelling for Christianity. Show how Jesus is an amazing guy. Show how he did this amazing sacrifice for everyone. He didn't do that. Instead, he starts talking about how the Gospels are written by the people themselves.
Which they're not.
Boring. Scholars do not agree with his position. And I thought it very strange that he's arguing this position that's highly contentious from his point of view. He doesn't have a historical scholarship behind him on this. You know what I mean? So he can't appeal to scholars on this. He's kind of on his own. And he's like, and I'm like, well, if I were Junior, I'm like, who are these people? You said that they did that. Well, who's Mark? Who's Luke? Who's John? Tell me who these people are. Where's the evidence?
Why do they speak about themselves in the third person in their own Gospels?
Well, and the thing is, honestly speaking, the scholars just say that they're all anonymous writers. That's the position that they take. So, like, he's trying to go against academic scholarship. I don't think that was a smart move for him at all. And I don't think it's a good argument for Christianity. And he spent a lot of time doing that. And I'm like, this does not defend Christianity. I think if he took my position, he would have looked a lot better. It's simpler. It's not this highfalutin academic. I don't like that. Like when I see Made by Jim Bob, like when I see people do these really extremely intellectual arguments that no one understands, it actually is a weaker position than just being very simple, using direct language, being approachable. This is the better type of argumentation. So I feel that he really was not strong in that. And I fact take your position that instead it makes you very bored and tune out. You tune out because it's too intellectual and it's not for main audiences. And he's not really arguing a case for Christianity, he's just arguing that Christianity is true, which is not really what the debate's about. It's Christianity versus Islam. So what you need to do is you need to show why Christianity is super awesome and why Islam is not. And I don't think this would have been, I think it's kind of like, for mainstream audiences, is sort of a knockout of the park. Like, you take an extreme, and I would say it's maybe a little dishonest, but take an extreme Salafi position on Islam, use that as your position on Islam, give the most progressive, liberal, spiritual kind of Christianity, pit that up against Salafi Islam, and then you look good. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's good for a modern day debate audience.
The other thing is he very dishonestly and blatantly cherry-picked and lied about what Bart Ehrman said. Like, a Christian invoking Bart Ehrman, that is just like, how the Lulu are you? He invoked Bart Ehrman in saying, which is a claim made in passing, that the only thing we can know about the life of Jesus we can get from the gospel. But Bart Ehrman says that the Gospels are unreliable because they contradict each other. And he kind of conveniently forgot about that, John. And I think it's weird and cringy when Muslims appeal to Bart Ehrman. When a Christian does it, it's
super weird.
Something else, like extremely something else.
Yeah, Bart Ehrman does not support the Christian position at all.
No way. He just says like, oh yeah, the only claims we have about the life of Jesus are in the Gospels, but they are all over the place. And Bart Ehrman, if you search, he has tons of debates where he argues that the Gospels are unreliable. And that's his position, that the Gospels, even though they are what makes the claims about Jesus, that they are unreliable. All right. Now, next section, everyone's favorite. Today, it's a little bit special because as I was kind of bored out of my mind and tuned out, we only have one contestant for Dumbest Comment of the Debate award. And it's this one. Marilyn. You're both wrong. Serve an idol-worshipping death cult. We are all God because of God. And every time she says something like that, I go, oh, that is just asinine. Some derpling, she hangs around in the chat. So, Marilyn, you...
That's the dumbest comment of the debate. You said it with a smile like you sounded so great. Round and round you talk, but you don't say straight. That's the dumbest comment of the debate.
Ooh, bravo, Marilyn. Do you like that song? Love it. Yes, Marilyn, that was dumb as hell. All right, open discussion, Isa. This is where I lost my mind. I went to make coffee. I started playing
really boring
game, trying to not fall asleep.
I was utterly bored, dude. Like, it was hard. It was hard to pay attention. Like, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, Jvnior started trying to say, God, you think God died. But yes. Jvnior, the problem is that you need to frame that so that it has impact. Because I agree with the general sentiment of the argument. But the problem is that that's not the crux of the argument. The crux of the argument is that it violates the law of identity. It's not that God can die, but in order for you to say that Jesus is God, he would have to be identical to God. And we see through verses and so on that Jesus is not identical to God. The most clear example, Jesus didn't know the hour and says only the Father knows the hour, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That means that Jesus is not identical to the Father. So he could not have been God because that violates the law of identity. And that's how you do that, Junior. Not like, oh, you think God died? It's like, well, you have to take the Christian position. It's not that Jesus was fully God. He had the essence of God, but then God, the head, was still out there. So when Jesus died, only the human part died, and the other part went to heaven or resurrected or whatever the hell the claim is, right? So it was completely wrong approach for an argument that I agree on the basis on, but he couldn't pull it off because he doesn't understand the Christian position and the count, like the polemics for that Christian position. That was the first thing, and they spent so much time on that. That was just boring as hell. What did you think about that part, the beginning of the open discussion?
Sorry, I think that's kind
I
of what
feel
I
you.
felt.
I'm the same way.
I think that's what I felt about the entire debate, honestly. Yeah, I think this idea, the focus on, Jesus prayed to the God that you need to pray to, like this kind of argument, and you can't pray, you can't believe in, uh, what is it about, like a God that dies and stuff like that, and I'm just like, they're just different theologies. This is like a problem. Like I don't get the argument of like theology versus theology. Like you have two different structures and two different mechanisms that your theologies have. Using your standard of theology against their theology, it doesn't make sense because they can just do the same thing to you, and then you're at an impasse. A better position is to use like a sociological, anthropological argument and say, well, our people are doing better, and look at that's actually what Andrew Wilson did basically against Daniel Hakikachu. And I think that it was a very strange and bizarre way that he did it, but what he did is a stronger position than I think this, because you can objectively take these standards and say, look, this society is doing better, they're producing more stuff, they're more functional, they have government stability, like all of these types of things, and you could showcase, like you could show details that can show a certain degree of objectivity, right? But like this thing saying, well, my theology is better than your theology. Again, like if we take like say an atheist standard where you're like all of these religions are nonsense, right? I could go and say, well, your one invisible God that gets angry and destroys things is no different than an invisible God that's made out of three persons, right? That one part sacrifices itself for all humanity. You're both illogical, you're both irrational, so why should I listen to either of you, right? That would be the position that you could take. And I'm like, so you have to take a different route, because the goal is you have to persuade your audience. And I agree. I think that Junior is not really doing that. He needs to like own in and focus on something that, and like you said before, focusing on 20 different things leads to nothing. Focus on one thing, hit that home. And again, I have to bring up Andrew Wilson because that is what he did. And I think that's what makes him kind of a strong debater in the way that he does. He focuses on one thing and he harps on that thing. Whether the thing is a good thing or it's good faith, that's another conversation. But him focusing on one thing and sticking to that one point all the way through, he's very good at that. Like
my problem with that is that that's the overcorrection. Andrew Wilson focuses. I think it's because he has one neuron and can think about one thing at a time. He focuses on one thing and just repeats himself over and over and over. But Rimjob does the same thing. I think it's because they're dummies. But no, focus on 3-4 arguments and do those, not just one and repeat it over and over like he did with Daniel Hakikachu about the cousin marriage, right? Or the deformities or whatever. Like, yeah, that's the overcorrection. I don't feel that. I think that the halfway is the better way.
But the thing is, if you do focus on one thing and you make that one thing like a grand slam, then you look good. Like he did that with Melissa Lantern too, where he talked about physical anatomy, right, of the Prophet of Islam and intimate relations, right?
Yeah, but that was just an asshole argument. Just it's like,
it is.
his
It
whole
is.
argument is like, oh, Muhammad, if you say he didn't hurt Aisha, he must have had a really small penis, huh? I'm
But
Andrew Wilson. Oh.
no, but you have to understand it is a strong argument in the sense because what he's
It's a
saying is he's
ridiculous argument.
not exactly. Think about it like this. What he's saying is he's like, you value this person. You're saying this person is such a great, wonderful man. Okay, I'm going to put you into a dilemma. Either this man is an evil, awful man, right? Or he's not the great, virulent man you think he is. He's not some strong, powerful man. He's in either position you take. If you stay by this narrative, you're stuck with a man with deformities.
Yeah,
He's
but
not a
it's
perfected human.
But it's a false dichotomy because that's not. You can be a virile man and satisfy women and still have a small penis.
You say that, but the idea is for people. The idea of a tiny little thing, like a tiny phallus, it's like it's a huge position of emasculation. You are emasculating
It's
someone.
not. That's my point. It's not, and the only way the only way that works is because Muslims are dumb enough to get triggered by a claim like that, which is asinine in its own right.
But it works though, because that's what I'm saying. It is an effective means. It's not an effective means for you, but it is an effective means for a person who views that. They're like, this person is the perfected man, so he has to have a larger member. That's what they. It's a what do they call it? It's a bid'ah. It's an innovation. It doesn't. Your position is actually correct. It doesn't matter how big his phallus is. It's irrelevant. And you're correct. You can have a small phallus, a medium phallus, a big phallus, and you can have a giant phallus, and you may not be able to satisfy a partner because it's too large. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're correct. This size, it doesn't matter. Because you're logical and rational. But a lot of these other people, the way that they create their narrative, that is a problem. But you're correct. If you're not trapped by stupidity, then it won't work. Like you could take the position like, I don't care. So what if it's small? It doesn't mean anything. Oh, whatever my position is, she didn't get hurt. So if it's small, so what? And you just neutralize the position. You're correct. That would have been an effective means, but they didn't. The Muslim leaders like, you are insulting my prophet. You're insulting my prophet. That's what he did. He couldn't engage it. He didn't know how to because he was neutralized by it. And Andrew Wilson knew that. He knew very well how to neutralize. He knew the tough points to hit. You know what I mean? And he got them. He got these people. So, and he got Daniel Hakikachu too, because he knew that these people, they're not like you or me. These are not people who are nuanced and have complex ways of looking at humanity. They see things through very black and white, simplistic lenses, and it hurts them, you know?
Yeah, it's
and that's the problem.
Yeah, but I think it's also like, okay, if you know something, I don't see it as intellectually honest to like say the thing that you know will just trigger them as your main argument. That's just it's I don't know. It's but mostly because I try to be honest, and I generally don't attack people until they attack me first. And then I go all out, and I go ham with whatever they want to do. But just that when I saw that the first time, I saw like Andrew Wilson destroys Muslim land, and I was like, oh, okay, let's see this. And it's like, oh yeah, Muhammad had a small penis. I'm Andrew Wilson. It's just ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. And then the other guy, like completely drowning over that claim. It's like, mother.
And you see, that's why Andrew Wilson was effective, because he knew that would work. It's the same thing when Dr. Wood eats a piece of Quran. Like to a person who should be normal and balanced, right? You're like, yeah, that's a weird thing to do. don't know why you're doing that, right? Like a Muslim, that's how they should react, right? Should be like, yeah, it's weird, you know. I don't think that's a way you should treat the Quran, you know. It's not really
Muslims,
the
you know
most.
what you have to do when someone starts eating the Quran? Challenge them to eat it all. They will just get ink poisoning. I mean, that's how you counteract stupid. You lead into it.
Well, but the problem is that the thing is, they're not in rational, logical positions. That's the problem that you're seeing with these people.
I know.
Yeah, and that's why these things work. Like a normal person would be like, yeah, this is like, if you're an antagonist person, you're right, and you want to say you're like fencing, and the person's like, you know, come at me, you know. It's like, yeah, go all the way, go
on.
Eat the whole Quran. Let's see how it goes.
Eat it all. Eat the hardcover, and when you start shitting black, and they have to take you to the hospital because you have ink poisoning, then we'll see who laughs.
And it's like,
last.
look, Allah won. Look, Allah won. Like,
yeah.
And you're like, yes, I want you to have the Quran inside you. I want the whole Quran inside you. Like, you're right. There's tactics you can do to deal with that if you feel so, you know, imposed. I think for me, I'm like, when I see these things, I'm like, okay, people are doing their things. So what? Move on with your life. But these people can't. Like, they get obsessed. And I think people like Dr. Wood and what's his name?
Ridwan.
Yeah, Ridwan and all of, you know, these other folks that do certain things that like are triggering, or like Andrew Wilson, right? Andrew Wilson is who I was thinking about. You do these things that are triggering. You can neutralize the trigger. It's not too hard. Oh, this is my buddy here.
Assalamu alaikum, Isa.
Walaikum salam. How are you? I knew it right away when you see 786. So Kaja, we are talking about like these people who are attacking Islam, right? And I was basically saying, you don't have to react to these types of things. And I'm like, when these people are reacting and getting upset, like if someone eats the Quran, or, you know, someone says that the Prophet is small phallus, or, you know, people are inbred, right? Muslims are inbred. When you get upset and you react, you fall right into the trap. And then, you know, the folks win instead of just handling the situation and being like, okay, so what? You know, and then what Max brought up is like, if you're going to eat a page of the Quran, why don't you eat the whole thing and see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, it's like people are reacting and they're buying into this anger and hatred instead of just being like, okay, you think the Quran is this book? You think it's a physical book? I think a really devout Muslim's not going to be like, the book is, if you hurt the book, you're hurting the message. You're like, the true message is transcendent of a book, you know? And I think that's the problem. A lot of people are they're stuck into materialism. It's a religious materialism. They're like, I need the book in order to, the book has to be preserved. And it's really about ego at the end of the day. My tribe, my ego, it's all about ego. It has nothing really to do with the Quran at all. Their ego is being hurt. You know,
Muslims should really stop trying to ball Islam and trying to make the Islamic dilemma work. It's not going to work ever. No. You just don't take the position. If you don't take that position of corruption, then they have nothing.
Exactly.
And you do have the argument that the New Testament kind of overwrites some stuff from the Old Testament. So the Quran, it's okay that it overwrites some stuff from both the New Testament and the Old Testament. There, done, dusted. No more Islamic dilemma and off to the races. But they keep falling. They keep banging their head against the wall of the Islamic dilemma. It's not going to work. It's a great, well put argument with one critical flaw. Just don't take the position and you're golden. So I don't know if you watch the debate, Kaja.
I watched some of the beginning of it, and I was certainly frustrated with the banging of the head into the Islamic debate. He was very much trying to get into disproving Christianity instead of leaning into the perennialism of Islam. And like, I absolutely lean into that perennialism myself. I think both are paths to God. If you believe that Jesus died on the cross, then that can work in Islam. That really doesn't have to disqualify anything. I don't think that the teachings are corrupted. I think that, like, Issa and I were talking about this earlier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have something juicy. I don't know if you guys heard, but some stuff happened at the beginning of Jvnier's opening. He was talking about something. Here, let me hide some stuff on my screen, and I'll show it to you guys.
All right.
Yeah, because Jvnior said that there have been some claims made. There was like some problem with James, and I found it. I found it here on the Twitters. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. So Rami Al-Khalil has a screenshot of a comment from 9 months ago where James says, choke me, Jibril, choke me, and laughs, right? And this is on IP's channel. And whether you like it or not, I mean, James has a little bit of a weird sense of humor, right? So this guy says, no Muslim should go on MDD until he retracts and apologizes for this disgusting comment. Like, dude, take a chill pill. Like, relax. James has a very weird sense of humor.
Oh, maybe
It's not that
Criterion
big of a
here
deal.
is using the word beating the same way that, like, a fun parent might use the word beating.
Yeah.
Now tell me you love your beatings and you don't have to have one. And like, we love our beatings, Daddy. We love our beatings.
And then he replied, not apologizing, cry more, Rami. If you guys just said something like, hey, that comes off as disrespectful, can you not be like that? I would have said yes, but instead you guys threatened beatings of Muslims for coming on MDD. I'm not negotiating when you guys act insane. And I have to
we
say,
love our beatings.
I generally agree.
Yeah, I agree with you too.
Yeah, I mean, dude, people have different sense of humor. That's not that big of a deal, really.
It's like, basically, in Islam, there's a story about a man who was like worshiping Moses and bringing gold to Moses and like leaving it by some rocks or something like that. And another man sees him and says, this is not how God really is. You don't have to give gold to Moses to worship God. And then, like, an angel comes to the man and says, God is unhappy. Like, you've broken this man's connection with God. And the point of the story is that if our connection is to God, then our faith is rewarded. So if our connection to God is through Jesus who died for our sins, then that's a pathway to God. Our faith is rewarded. Like, that's good faith. If our connection is to God through giving gold to Moses in a lake, then our faith is rewarded, inshallah. And like, I was born into Islam. This was taught to me when I was young. If someone were to ask me why I think Islam is true, it's because the Quran says that someone who establishes a relationship with God is going to heaven. It says that all the Christians are going to heaven, all the Jewish people are going to heaven. And in the tafsirs for that verse, it says that Islam was created for all people, not just Muslims. And so it means that, like, when Jesus was teaching, and when Muslims say that Jesus was teaching Islam, he wasn't teaching it with the word Islam. He was just teaching the submission to God's will. And all all the different aspects of Christianity therein, that is their form of Islam. And that's why I think Islam is true, because like if you get to know the Lakota and they describe the old ways, it has
What's a
so much.
Lakota?
It's one of the Native American tribes.
Oh, yeah, right, got it.
Yeah. The old ways have a lot in common with Islam, and it's very easy to see how Islam could be for all people. Just think about Antarctica. You don't have the sun for so long of a period of time, so you can't have Ramadan there. You can't fast just while the sun is up or when the sun is down, because that wouldn't work. So they get a different teaching entirely.
People don't live in Antarctica
Eskimos?
historically. No, that's the north.
Oh, well, hook me up with some geography lessons, because I'm American.
Well, yeah, no, the Eskimos are in the north.
You
But
forgot.
but
Max,
I mean,
the-
their religion is completely different than Islam. So I didn't get the point there.
Oh, the point is that Muhammad said all the teachers like Buddha and I'm blanking on some Hindu teachers' names, but he said all of them were teaching paths to God, and that all of their teachings had value. And so to say that Christianity isn't true is going against some of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
The problem is that gets you into some complications, because the Hindus, they do a lot of shirk.
They certainly do.
So it's hard. It starts to get tricky.
We have a chapter in the Quran about that. It's called Kafirun, and it basically says that you believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe, and both are okay. The Quran also says that God separated humanity into different tribes so that we may know one another better. And so to connect in these different ways raises our humanity. And there is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also taught about the oneness of humanity and not just the oneness of God. So they have
get
their
that,
beliefs.
and I agree in principle, and I appreciate your and Isa's takes on Islam a lot more than Daniel Pikachu, for example. But the problem is that when it comes to the Hindus, like that's good, but that contradicts the idea of they do a hell of a lot of shirk, because they have polytheistic pantheons there of the mushrikun. So, okay, what do we do now? We have competing claims.
So, like, in Sufi methodology, I actually wanted to make a quick joke about Antarctica, though. I was going to say, well, the final experiment folks were living there for a while. So, you said no one was living there. I'm like, the final experiment people were there, right?
No, but I meant like
I was just kidding.
There are no people native to Antarctica.
No, I totally get it. I just wanted to make a joke about that, because this is our we have our little niche with flat Earth here. So I was making a flat Earth joke here. But I was going to say that the thing is, Islam is complex. It's polylythic. There's many different variants of Islam. But if you take like a Sufi perennialist narrative, like Kaja was saying, I think it's super important to understand that like you have spiritual guides, you have shuyukh, you have sheikhs. So that's an important authority for like spiritual Muslims. And there's one sheikh that said because a lot of sheikhs, shuyukh in South Asia particularly, cater to both the Dharmic religion, aka Hindu, and Islam. So they kind of had a fused type of apparatus. And there's a particular teacher that stated that he had both of these disciples, both Hindus and Muslims. And the Muslims were, in one of these stories, the Muslims were mocking the Hindus, saying exactly what you said, that they believe that the Muslims believe in one God, the Hindus believe in many gods, the same kind of thing. So what the teacher said to them was, he said, well, the Hindus have idols on the outside. You Muslims, you have idols on the inside. So that's basically what he said. He's like, you think that this is a problem that they have idols? You have many more idols. They're all on your inside. All in your spiritual compass, you worship so many things. You know, you're much greater idolaters than the Hindus are.
I wanted to inquire a little bit because, okay, if you take, and I appreciate the idea that, like, Christians go to heaven and Jews go to heaven and everyone goes to heaven. The only one that doesn't go to heaven is me, because I don't believe in Allah, right?
I mean, that's debatable. I mean, if you're taking a perennialist view, it's a debatable kind of position. I mean, it's hard because, like, in ancient times, this concept of an atheist, it didn't exactly fit the idea that someone says, well, I don't believe in gods at all. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with, like, LGBTQIA. Like, these concepts, yes, people did these things, but the concept for societies didn't really exist. They didn't have fully fledged ideas of what it means for someone to be an atheist or for someone to be a part of, like, the LGBTQIA plus community. Do you get what I mean?
I think I disagree with that, because, like, the Bible talks about the unbelievers and the Quran also speaks about the unbelievers.
That's fine. I get that. But I'm saying what they're saying is an unbeliever isn't necessarily what you would call an atheist. That it's a generic term, right? It's like a carpet generic term. I'm saying this concept called atheist, I wouldn't say, like, from my understanding, it's just not a concept that
I have a hard time thinking that there wasn't people just like me at every point in history.
I don't disagree. I'm saying the concept for a society didn't exist. I'm not saying people like you didn't exist. Of course they did. But I'm saying, like, societies did not have this framework called the atheist. Were there people a part of the LGBTQIA plus community? Of course there were. But did these societies say, well, let's have these highly analytical constructs of what being a member of the LGBTQIA plus is? No, they didn't. You know, they just didn't have that in society.
I understand with the LGBTQ, but the condition for being an atheist is like, oh, if someone claims there's a God and you're like, yeah, nah, I don't think so. And that's pretty much it. So I think that's a way lower bar. Now,
I get you.
Remember I told you about that movie about Cervantes when he's being held captive in Algiers by the Muslims? He's one of the most prolific Spanish writers. And there, for example, they detail the practice of the minions, which were basically companions of some people of the rulers, and they had homosexual relations. But because these people also had a bunch of wives, that was not seen. And we've talked about this a bunch of times. Because these people have wives on the side and they also have kids, because they occasionally bang a dude, no one was really batting an eye over that.
Okay,
and that is an accurate description of some of those types of practices. If you haven't seen it, it's a movie called The Captive on Netflix. It's quite good. It's a historical fiction, if you would like. Or historical dramatization, if you would like. But it is grounded in reality. Cervantes was captive by Muslim pirates in Algiers. So I highly recommend it. If you like that kind of a thing, I highly recommend that. Okay, do we have anything else regarding the debate specifically? Because I think we're done, and I am so sleepy. I kind of want to go to bed.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are tired. I think...
Yeah, I'm tired, definitely.
I think all three of us are on the same point. We were all bored. Oh, please, go ahead.
Oh, my.
I did want to respond some to your idea of atheism,
go for
though.
it.
because I believe there's a hadith that says anyone with even an atom's weight of faith in their heart can enter paradise. Is that true, Isa? I believe that's a hadith.
I've heard that, yes, but and Jvnior has actually said that, but I don't even have that.
Also, like
no, I'm atheist. I'm not even baptized.
There's also some interpretations that suggest God's grace, subhanahu wa ta'ala, may extend to those who lived righteous lives even without formal faith, as he alone knows what is in an individual's heart. So your qualities, if they are good and righteous, I believe they can get you.
I generally am good. Don't know about righteous, but I generally am good. It's just that I also have the capacity and I exercise being an a-hole every once in a while. Because, I mean, some people do deserve it.
Yeah, that's... This is the internet in 2026, right?
Mm-hmm. So I guess
Mashallah.
I'm still screwed. I can't find a way to heaven yet, but we'll get there eventually.
So
I think it's probably infinitely more complex than we realize. So inshallah, there is a way. Only God knows.
So thank you for that. So my analysis of the debate overall is, I think I miss Jvnior's antics. I would have loved to see a monkey or something, but it's Ramadan, so it's probably why he's not doing that. I think, I like seeing Jvnior's humor. I mean, that makes it more fun.
It's kind of hit and miss, though.
I hear that, but I've enjoyed most of the debates I've seen with him in it. You know what I mean? Where he talks like this. I want you to know that Islam is true because Jesus did not die. A God cannot die. Okay? I want you to know that Islam is so good. My mother was a Christian. My wife was a Christian. Hey, baby, do I hit you? No, I don't. I'm like, I like that. I like these antics. Like, they're fun. They're memorable. And I didn't.
It would have been cool if he was like, I am looking forward to the beatings I will receive for being on this channel.
Yeah, like, I liked actually the first part where he's like, I am the greatest Christian apologist now. And I was like, oh, that was cute. He took, like, an attack against him and he made it, like, something fun. I thought that was a fun thing that he did. And I would have loved to see more of that because it would have made it more entertaining. I think Big John Steele was really, really professional. And I'm not sure that was a great thing in this position because he came off as like a really boring professor. He reminds me of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like Ben Stiller. What's not Ben Stiller? What's his name? The guy from the Mask. What is that guy's name?
Jim Carrey.
No. The boring guy, Ben Stein. Ben Stein, who's like, yes, class, we're going to talk about what's that called? We're going to talk about physics today. We're going to talk about math. Does anybody want to speak about math? Please raise your hand. That's what I felt about Big John Steele. I'm like, I am bored out of my mind. I am going to tell you that the gospel was written by Mark. The gospel was written by Luke. These authors are proven. I'm like, dude, you are boring me, bro. I am bored to my.
And I mean to me, it just seemed that it was inspiring philosophy from Timo. Just a copy of whatever silly arguments inspiring philosophy makes, and I don't like when people make those false arguments. Like, the Gospels. It's like, dude, no, we know you're going up against all scholarship, and the cherry on top was just him quoting Bart Ehrman. Like, what the hell is he doing?
Issa, what were the arguments you wanted John to make?
Oh, the arguments I think John should have made was, I think John needed to make the argument that showcase how great Jesus is. Make an emotional argument. Showcase how You know, Jesus represents love and compassion and empathy, and he's a timeless character from from the time that he existed all the way till now. He's not aged. He's still fascinating. He's still compelling more than any other character, and this is why he needs to be venerated. Like, this is the kind of thing that I think would be so much more compelling. It's much more simpler. It doesn't go into like high intellectualism, and I think it makes a compelling argument for why a person may choose, if you have to put Christianity versus Islam, why someone would choose Christianity over Islam. I think that was lacking, and he just
That,
he was
I
too
really
intellectual.
agree with I would like to hear that same kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's what I like hearing about Jesus, and I'm always like, Alhamdulillah, we have Jesus in Islam.
But it was very boring. That's what I think. That's the major consensus on this panel. Super boring. It just really didn't track well. It just kept going and going. My favorite was when my question was asked, and Kaja saw this too, where I said Ramadan Mubarak to Jvnior, and then James said Ramadan Mubarak Mubarak. It was the most hilarious thing. He's like, can you help me with that? I was like, oh my God. I'm like, James, you've never heard Ramadan Mubarak before? That is actually funny. I'm actually was surprised by that, because I would think that was something like most people would have heard. You know what I mean? Like, just in a normal world, like if you're around any kind of Muslims, you would hear something like that. But I guess you learn something every day.
I wasn't so much bored as I was frustrated from both sides of arguments.
I hear that.
I get that.
But what he said, which was hilarious, was he said after Ramadan Mubarak, Junior's like, it means have a happy Ramadan. And Kaja and I listened to that. It was really funny. It's like, how enjoy Ramadan.
Enjoy Ramadan. That was a new translation for me.
Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak means like, may the blessings of Ramadan be for you, because it's barakah is like blessings. So
yeah,
it's basically like that.
Ramadan blessings.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that.
I'm always going around on different holidays going Valentine's Mubarak, Independence Day Mubarak, Halloween Kareem.
Halloween Kareem. I remember last Ramadan, Isa, remember we went a little bit against Lily J. Remember, I have the image of her going up to this kid in the orphanage and going like, "Oh, you're the poors," and tapping them on the head, and it was so cringy. We lost that video, but that was that was funny. Let me ask you one question, Kaja, before we go. What's your position on the Islamic dilemma? You don't take the corruption position, right?
No, I don't take the corruption position. The Quran says that the Injil is real. It affirms these texts. It tells you to go read them. And so that's how I see the Bible. I see it's the word of God. And whether Jesus was crucified or not, I think it's the same Jesus. And so when you accept Jesus as a prophet of God or the Son of God, and you take his teachings and that connection into your heart, I think effectively it's the same kind of path to God. And so I've never really had trouble kind of like debating this inside of myself.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. We generally we like to go through debates. That's a lot of what we do here, and yeah, we just find the Muslims just beating their heads against the Islamic dilemma a little bit funny. And the way that I see it as an atheist, that I find it fascinating, is that it's a greatly constructed argument that if you take the position that it's unbeatable, but it has one critical flaw, just don't take the corruption position and you're golden. And I even go forward with saying, for example, the Bible kind of overwrites the Old Testament in some ways. So the Quran overwrites both in some other ways, and yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah, I
they're
think that's natural.
supersessionalist, and it's like, okay, that's it. Simple as that.
The corruption stuff comes from like the most popular Quranic commentary, the tafsirs from Ibn Kathir, and they lean really heavily into the idea that the Bible and the Torah have been corrupted over time. But that wasn't like, that commentary didn't exist in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And I think it has some internal contradictions, because you have no way of knowing if you have a text and you say that that text is corrupted. You need to have the original. You need to have something to compare it to. If you just read the text, this is the only thing that you have to go by.
Yeah.
So you really don't have justification to make the claim of corruption if you don't have the original text. The last debate we reviewed, Inspiring Philosophy, just kept asking Hassan Shilby, what's the Injil? Where's the Injil? And how do you know? And the guy just like completely crumbled. And I think it's correct. I think it's fair to ask is if you say it's corrupted, what's the justification for it? And where's the non-corrupted version?
It's like I primarily read the Yusuf Ali translation of the Quran, and his commentary is just so much more gracious and wise than a lot of other commentaries I've read, which are just more black and white and or like very conservative, or throwing out kind of elitist or gatekeepy ideas that somewhat conflict with my experience of Islam in the real world. Now I'm only in my 40s, but people who are 30 to 40 years older than me have such a gracious and wise way about them. Muslims, I mean. And so like I've really come to understand that people who walk the path of Islam tend to have this gracious, patient, and wise qualities about them. That this very like kind of a way of a Jedi. And so that's something that really kept me grounded in Islam through my life.
No, I get that, and I appreciate that kind of view more than the hard line, because it creates so much problems. Like if you say Islam is an Abrahamic religion, so it kind of hinges on the previous scriptures also being true. So it makes very little sense to me to say, oh no, this is corrupted. You mean the books on which your book is also based on, that it references the story of Noah's Ark but doesn't tell you. So that kind of means that you need to go and read the Torah if you want to get the story of Noah's Ark. And
speaking of Noah's Ark, I like some of the differences from what stories we get to partially go over again in the Quran. And they say Noah brought on 73 followers with him onto the ark, and that makes so much more sense humanity wise. And like the Pharaoh from the story of Moses, he dies when the Red Sea comes and crashes back together. And that I was watching an animated version that DreamWorks made, and I was like, wait, the Pharaoh lived? That doesn't make any sense.
The Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
I've watched that, yes. Let me welcome Nahid. We are on our way out, but hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Nahid.
You are muted, just in case you notice.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Would you like to give us some thoughts on the debate before we go?
Yeah. I would like to ask you, why aren't you Muslim yet?
Oh boy. Do you really want to have this conversation right now?
Nahid, go read yourself the Kafirun.
I'm a filthy atheist. I've always been.
Great question, very great.
I will probably never be a Muslim. I will probably never be any kind of religion because I wasn't indoctrinated. My parents let me decide for myself. And by the time I read my first religious book, I had already read all of the Greek mythology. I had already read all of the Norse mythology and all of the Egyptian mythology. So when I read the Bible for the first time, this was like, oh, this is another myth. And then I got to know Islam about 2 years ago, and yeah, it just strikes me as another false religion. There is no God.
Right.
There's never
like
been any gods.
it's basically Kafarun, right? I do not worship what you worship, nor do you worship what I worship. I will never worship what you worship, nor will you ever worship what I worship.
No,
You
but I
have
don't
your
worship
way,
anything.
and I have my way.
But
That's
I
the
don't
whole
worship
chapter.
anything.
No, but that would still stand though. In that definition, it would still stand. You still don't worship what is being worshipped, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything
Yeah,
about
and
worshiping.
you still
something else.
worship nothing. Which,
Exactly. It still would stand.
But why do you think Islam is not a true religion?
Because all
When
religions are
suppose,
false, my guy.
when suppose I am sent by Allah to you to deliver to you a message which will reflect you on after death, when after death you will be
There's
resurrected
nothing.
and presented in front of Allah, and he will ask you, didn't I send my messenger to you? So why didn't you accepted me? Now you will have to face the consequences of it since I sent
Sure.
you a warning. So what will be your response?
I
Nothing.
think I think it's
Nothing because
possible that we aren't his messenger, right? Like if God wants to create a messenger made tailored exactly for Max, God could still do that at some point down the road, and it's possible that he has not met his messenger yet.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I'm not even remotely afraid of any of that. And number two, none of that is going to happen because God doesn't exist and there is no afterlife.
Yeah, what if I say that it exists and there is afterlife and I am one of the messenger came to you to warn you and show you the correct path so that you may not get lost.
If
So what
you
will
are
be
God's messenger, like he really failed. He should have
yeah.
sent someone more convincing. I've heard this a million times. It's not going to work.
See, I think Max needs a messenger that says Halloween Kareem.
No, I'm asking just what will your response be? That time you won't be in such a position. You will be chained and trapped in chains of fire. So
Return to sender.
you will have to give a
Boo-hoo.
true response. Irrespective if you give response or not, you will be held
No,
accountable.
no, I've never thought
But
of what my response would be because I don't think that will ever happen. This is not scary at all.
yeah, it's
Do you know
not to
what
be
I think
scary.
happens do you know what I think happens after you die? The same thing that happens before you were born. The world just moves on without you.
Definitely, world does goes without us when we were not born, and when we will die, world will go without us, and world was going without us. But you have been sent in this world for a small period of time. In that period, you have to recognize Allah, worship Him, and obey Him.
Nope.
And for that, you will be held accountable. You will be
Oh
held
wait,
accountable.
I've got an idea. Let me give this a shot. Max, will you give me one honest attempt?
Sure.
Okay. The reason that you should be Muslim is because when you give blessings to your food, we get to have the shortest blessing. We have the option to say either Bismillah and then you're done, or you can do the Cookie Monster blessing. Cookie! Nom 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 nom.
I mean, I love bacon. I love pork chops. And you guys don't eat that, so
Baby
And,
steps.
why-
Baby steps onto the bus. Baby steps
I'm
onto the
don't
elevator.
super disqualified in the fact that my body count is higher than most people's.
Don't you see how Allah has created you, how Allah has
Nope.
given you birth and sent you into this world? Don't you see the
Nope.
sky above? Who has made them? The stars, the sun, the moon, the day and night.
You mean the stars, the one that they used to shoot the
Hmm?
jinn that also don't exist? Those stars, you mean? The ones that are supposedly falling from Earth and that they're used like a spear to aim at the prying jinn? Those stars, the ones that are millions of light years away?
Also, who created them? Don't you think that that is reachable? For Allah, it's nothing. It's very small thing. The stars, the sun, the moon. He has given them life million of years, and they will also die one day. You know that there is a process which led to that of stars, sun, moon. Everything will die, and then everything will be resurrected, and all of them, everything will be, since they are not created for worshipping Allah, but they do obey the commands of Allah. Sun, star, moons, they work according to the instructions of Allah, and we will be resurrected, and we will be questioned, brother.
Mm-hmm.
As this,
That's
as our birth
lovely
is
that's a
certain,
lovely
resurrection
story.
is also certain.
That's a lovely story. It's also
It's not a
false.
story, brother. It's not a story.
Oh, yes, it
It's not
is.
a story, brother. It's, it's truth, brother. I am saying you,
I mean, you can keep on
Inshallah.
repeating
and
it's
I.
truth. You haven't been able to demonstrate that it's true either way. I mean, I have friends that measure the distance to the stars. So we have Abderrahman. I'm guessing that's pronounced
Yes,
fetal.
yes,
Hello. Are you
yes.
here to
Assalamu
convince me to
alaikum.
become Muslim too?
Walaikum
Yes,
salam.
but
Yeah,
my question is, do you believe in God, sister?
Huh? I need you to speak up, please.
Do you believe in
No, I don't believe in any gods. I disbelieve in all gods equally. Okay, I guess that was it.
I like that this guy said holy Shiite.
Kaja, I think you brought all of the Muslims here, brother. I think they all came. They saw Allah on the
Yeah,
panel.
they
They were like,
saw
"Oh, we
they
had a
saw a
good time."
filthy atheist, and it's like, oh, I'm bringing
Oh,
all the
Mosh.
boys to the yard.
Well, and they saw Allah too. When they saw Allah, they're like, "Oh, I gotta come here."
Oh, subhanallah ta'ala.
And also, let me tell you, you know what excludes Islam for me? This nonsensical idea of getting 72 virgins in heaven. Who the hell
That's a
wants
weak hadith.
it's a
72
false hadith?
That is
Who
a
the
weak
hell
hadith.
wants
It's a false
72
hadith.
virgins? Just give me 72 slutty bros who know what
It's
the
weird.
hell they're doing.
It's a false hadith. It's weird, man.
Yeah, it's a false hadith. Yeah.
Yo, and
We
also,
are
do you
we are
believe
planning with Isa. He's going to teach me how you guys grade hadith, because I have no
so
clue how you
so
do that, or how could you
so
possibly do that.
I know that
okay?
I believe that Isa
How
and
do
I are both from the Hanafi school, and in the Hanafi school it says you can reject a hadith that if it conflicts with reason.
no?
Okay.
Yes. Usually, how do we grade hadith? First of all, what is hadith? A hadith is sayings from the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, who is written by who? By the companions of the Prophet. And there's also something called a chain of narration. That's something super strong, which means that if I write something, I know who wrote it because I have the sources and I also have the chain of narration.
Mm-hmm.
How do we
I
grade? How do
don't know
we
if you're
grade hadith?
noticing, but I'm pressing X to doubt on 2 controllers at the same time. That's how much I doubt these claims.
What do we doubt about?
This whole idea of the chains of narration, to me, that is just, I've never seen that
Right.
being demonstrated, just people claiming it. And the
Can I
same
dem-
way that
can I demonstrate
people
it?
claim to memorize the Quran. It's like, I've never seen anyone demonstrate that they have memorized the Quran.
Never?
Nope. I've seen people make claims. I've never seen
Man,
anyone volunteer to like, oh, I've memorized the Quran and basically giving me a shot to show them that they haven't.
I
man,
it's like I haven't seen anyone new do it lately, but I know where I can find people who have.
No, bring them.
They are not on the internet.
Convenient.
man,
Is
man,
you
man.
think Abdullah's on the internet?
Yeah, but I mean, he wouldn't come to like these kinds of spaces.
Yeah.
Huh, convenient. So
Plus,
we
there
have a
there was
bunch of
King
people that say they've memorized a text, a pretty thick text.
there was King
And-
Faisal who famously narrated different verses from the Quran to Parliament in Europe.
I mean,
And
yeah, I can cite you the lyrics of a song.
His
But-
lawyer just said whatever he wanted as the translation. So his lawyer wasn't translating the Quran, but King Faisal would just recite long chapters of the Quran as his arguments, and then his lawyer would say whatever was most convenient for him in English.
This is my favorite book. I've read it like 15 times. I don't know it from memory. And it's a simple book. It's a short novel.
And I'm using the term lawyer loosely because it was Lawrence of Arabia, and I don't know if he was actually a lawyer or not.
Man, can I ask you something? Just something.
Me?
Do you believe in God? Yes.
No.
He
Okay,
said he's
okay.
atheist.
And my question
No.
is the next.
He doesn't just
Okay,
not believe
okay.
in God, he actively disbelieves. He believes
Yes,
there's
I
actively
know.
not
I
one.
know
Don't
that.
worry.
Yes, I'm a positive or a strong atheist. I think there are no gods.
Okay,
none.
let me ask you this
Zero.
question. Just I want you to answer it. Why does anything exist at all? That's it.
Nature.
No, usually, man, either everything came from absolute nothingness or there
That's not what
exists
I
a
believe.
necessity, an eternal cause.
I reject your presupposition.
So why does anything exist at all?
I don't know why. Don't really care. What we do know is we're here now.
Max, these guys really want to debate you, so what about Tiny Toons versus Animaniacs?
No, I mean, and our position is not that the universe came from nothing. No, most cosmologists would say we don't know. I guess I have my preference for my cosmological model, which is that the universe just loops infinitely. So the universe, the second law of thermodynamics says matter cannot be created or destroyed. So that would mean it logically follows
Therefore, it
that
is
the
eternal.
excuse me, I was in the middle of a sentence. That would logically
Yes, sir.
follow that the universe has always been here.
So, by the second law of thermodynamics, if nothing can be destroyed and everything is transformed, therefore, to create something, it needs to be something else before it, something that was eternal and a necessity. What is
Yeah,
a necessity and
something
eternal?
matter, not magic. Sorry,
God is not God is not magic, man.
God is definitionally magic.
Okay, can I ask you
Supernatural.
something? Do you
Yes.
believe that a man can prophesy the future?
I'm sorry?
Do you believe a man can prophesy the future?
No.
Well, what if I told you that many prophets did? And you can even
Yeah.
confirm it by history itself.
Start lining up those citations.
Okay. So there's famous hadith about the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. He said in the seventh century Arabia that there is 360 joints in the human body. You can search it in Google. It exactly says 360.
Citation,
Also, another
chapter. Oh my God, you're going to start lying to me.
it's a hadith.
Citation.
Okay.
Citation.
Don't need to bring it from the Quran. You can even search it from the Quran. Wait.
Yeah, just tell me what the chapter and verse. Go.
Wait.
Why can't you just accept Coffee Rune?
Because that's not how I roll.
Fettel has gone bye-bye, Max. What have you got left?
According to you, this is the way God made me. So you're going to have to try a lot harder.
Well,
Yeah,
no.
I would
we
say
believe
this is
that-
the way God made you. Yeah, I'd say that's
No,
fair.
no. We believe that everyone was born in a state called fitra, which means that you are born pure, and in yourself you know that there is a God and He existed.
No. You
What?
don't get to
What?
You don't get to make that claim. I've never believed in a God for a single minute in my life.
Okay, I believe you.
I
So,
was 5 years old when I heard of God for the first time, and at 5 years old, it made no sense. So you don't get to make that claim about me.
yeah.
So I'm still waiting for chapter and verse.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah, I forget about it. So there's a famous ayah in the Quran. You can search it up. It's Quran 30, verse 2 to 4. The Romans have been defeated.
30, verse 2 to 4. Okay, hold on. Are you sure the Romans have been defeated?
Yes,
Wait,
yes. Let me tell you the historical context. I think
See,
it was in
listen
the
to the
year
planet
650.
Alderaan. Dear Muslim, listen to what other people say. Respect who they are. Too bad Alderaan got blown up by the Death Star.
I'm just explaining to him. He wants that.
You're
I'm
so
not going
sorry.
against his will. So,
Oh
in the
my dude,
historical context, in the year 650,
do you have a
Romans have
better
been crushed
microphone?
by the
Do you have a
Persians.
better microphone, or can you move closer to like the microphone? Because I have a very hard time hearing you.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. It still sounds like you're speaking
So,
from the bottom of a well, but I'll try. Where is
yeah, so
the English translation of this?
32 to 4. So, what does it say? It says
30,
that the
the
Romans have been
Byzantines have been defeated in a nearby land. They will reverse their defeat with victory. In a few years' time, God's in command, first and last. On that day, believers will rejoice. Is that it?
Yeah, and that's literally, that's a prophecy. Because the Romans were literally at their biggest expand in the year 615. And they were
This
crushed
is
by the Persians.
excuse me, but this doesn't say the Romans. This says the Byzantines.
The Byzantines?
Yep.
No, the Romans. The Romans
No.
have been crushed by the Persians.
Fettel, Quran chapter 109.
It's 32 to 4.
Oh, no, I'm just telling you. You go read chapter 109.
Dude, this says the Byzantines, not the Romans.
Old translations.
Convenient.
Wait.
Hold
You
on.
can enable multiple translations. You could turn on.
I don't know. I've never used this before.
No, in the Arabic, what does it say?
Like, I think if you click that gear in the upper
Holy
right
bet
hand
are
corner.
Rome. Holy bet are Rome. The Romans, man. Holy bet are
Yeah,
Rome.
there's
The Romans.
Rome.
Here it says the Romans. Okay. Yeah, sure.
The translation is just so bad. So, what does it say? I think it's in the year 650.
Yeah, here it says the Romans.
Romans.
So what's the point?
I don't know what the point is.
The Romans.
I'm
the
telling you,
Romans-
Fettel, you got to read chapter 109 here. This is all chapter 109. This whole conversation.
So the Romans were the biggest expand, and they were cursed by the Persian. This was a prophecy, because you cannot say a country or a nation will be cursed within few years. If you made that bold claim, then you have to prove it. And that's what the Quran did within few years. I think it was 7.
Oh, you did it. Max believes in Islam now.
No, I don't.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know enough about history to address this, but when did the Roman Empire fall? 476 AD. The Roman Empire had already fallen. Oh no! No!
No, in 615.
According to who?
615.
I think he's talking about Persia, so Iran.
But
No,
Persia
no,
is
Romans
not
were
Rome.
cursed by the Persians.
And what is the Roman
By the
Empire? Like, what
Persians.
does that even mean? Like, you'd have to deconstruct what that is.
I mean,
this
this
isn't a persuasive argument. Like,
This is
for example,
not looking good for you.
because if you're talking about like the Holy Roman Empire, it wasn't holy, it wasn't Roman, and it wasn't empire. It was like a Germanic element. It's like you have to understand history, and I think it's unfortunate a lot of Muslims don't really know global history. They don't know much about like China, and like, for example, a lot of people are like, well, they're like, there's this ancient scientific claim that there's embryology in the Quran. I'm like, but you don't know
my God.
Aristotle, like you don't know Greek philosophy. So I'm like, you're too limited in your
or
scope of
Galen.
knowledge. And I'm gonna tell you a sad thing about the Muslim community. Many Muslims are not trained in humanities because they're trained to go become doctors, lawyers, engineers, IT, because that makes a lot of money. Humanities doesn't. So a lot of Muslims really lack in knowledge, like on humanities knowledge. It's just that's the way it is. Global knowledge, like they just know more about, biology and stuff like that. They don't know humanities and history. And it's an unfortunate thing. It's just because there's a heavy pressure to go into these other fields,
Mm-hmm. So this is
Especially like
not
immigrants.
looking good.
Fetal, can you read for me chapter 109?
You keep
Can I
saying
bring
that.
you something way better than this?
It's a short
Yes.
chapter.
Okay.
109.
Yeah, it's Sortal Kafirun.
Say prophet. Hold on, because is there a? Oh, this is Quran.com. Damn. Hold on, let me turn. What's the best translation here?
Yusuf Ali is fine.
Yusuf Ali. Okay. Okay, there we go. Say, O ye that reject faith, I worship not what ye worship, nor will ye worship that which I worship, and I will not worship which ye have been wont to worship. Dude, these are the words of God. This is a toddler speaking. Sorry. Nor will ye worship which I worship. To you be your way, and to me mine.
Mashallah.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
very poetic thing. Basically, it says, I'm going to do what I'm doing. You're doing what you're doing. You, your path, me, my path. That's pretty much what it's saying.
Yeah, sure.
So
In a
let
very roundabout
Fetal,
way.
I think you'll agree with me in the spirit of Islamic Brotherhood that we can hook Max up with the spirit of that chapter and just say, Mashallah, Alhamdulillah, God has made you the way you are, Max.
Yeah, and
For Allah
I mean,
loves wondrous variety.
if you really want to get technical about it, I don't know. I guess Allah could give you the argument that would convince me, but been doing 32 years, been hearing people talk about religion, still not convinced.
It's early yet.
It's early. I mean, well, I've heard all the arguments. There hasn't been anything new in like 10 years. I've heard the same arguments over and over. Pascal's wager, which is what Nahid
Yeah, it's
did.
fair.
And people quoting, like this guy talking me about a prophecy when the Quran was written 300 years after the fall of the Roman Empire. So it's like that is not impressive at all.
Yeah, if God's gonna send you something that
No.
would change your mind, it probably won't be in these spaces.
I don't know.
Can I give
I
you another
guess.
prophecy? I have plenty of them.
Oh boy, it's so hard to hear you, dude.
Can I give you another prophecy? I have plenty of them.
Yeah,
No.
Can
go
you
for
go
it.
to Sunnah? Can you go to Sunnah Ibn Najah 200 2278? I'm gonna copy paste it in the chat.
2278. Ah, sorry, I messed that up.
Go
2278.
this in the chat.
It's
So
like Kafirun is just a chapter saying, "Let Max believe what he believes." Why do we have to drag him over to a different belief?
Oh, that's fine. That's
wait,
a lot of what we do here.
no,
People
no,
love
you
to
need to learn.
people love to come on the
People learn.
show and get their butts kicked.
So
Maxim
now
Muslim.
explain to me. Now explain to me. How could a man in Arabia said that
boy.
a time will come when
Where
everyone will
where is?
control?
Can you like hold on? Stop. Hold on, because you're looking at my screen here. Oh shoot, you're looking at my screen, and when I search for that, it brings me to like a list. So, what is all of the? Where am I supposed to go? Or I mean, you could just link it to me, right? Look, give me the full link of the verse you want me
Yeah.
to read, and we'll read together, and we'll read it for the people, and they will be just as not convinced as I am.
I'll give you the link.
Yeah, please. And I mean, if you start with how can a man in Arabia, like, I know it's going to be a bad argument, like from the start. You know who says that a lot? Nadir, and he's potentially the worst debater of all time. Oh boy, someone is pile driving that keyboard.
Yeah, my keyboard is being a jerk.
There you go. Wait, just gonna copy paste this.
There is okay. There we go. Okay, copy here. Okay.
So
Typing with their forehead. Yeah. I basically need a hammer to get my spacebar to work right now.
It was narrated from Abu Huraira that wait, this is a hadith?
yes.
I don't care about, dude. I don't care about your holy book. Why, like?
No, it's a prophecy, man. It's something that is predicting the future. It's something is predicting the future.
This will. Oh, that's very easy. This will never happen. Let me read it to the people. There will come a time when there will be no one left who does not consume usury. Does not consume usury. And whoever does not consume it will nevertheless be affected by it.
Come on. That's literally the banking system, the loan, the card credit, the inflammation system, the mortgage. I mean, that's literally everything, man. How can a man 1,400 years ago predict this?
Yeah, because people by that time, people were already trading with money. Next.
Okay. Do you want another thing? Maybe that will change your mind?
I mean, we can continue trying this until the rapture. It's just not going to go well for you. I'm not convinced by this silliness. This is just silly. He was a traveling merchant, right? So this coming from a merchant, even if you say like an illiterate man in Arabia, it's like, yeah, the dude knew that money moved the world.
Mm.
Okay, the messenger
So,
of Allah returned to us. It was, oh my God, more hadith. Can we stick to the
just,
Quran? Because I
yes,
I
yes,
don't believe in the holy
this,
books. This is just silliness.
this means
Someone,
that
dude, this to me is the equivalent of hearsay of hearsay.
Yeah, this
I
is fan
find this
fiction about the Prophet Muhammad.
this is
Sallallahu
fan
alaihi wasallam.
no, but to me it's even worse because to me this is fan fiction from fan fiction.
Oh, there
This
you
is
go.
just silly. The messenger of Allah turned to us and said, "Oh, Mushriku, I don't know what the fuck that means. There are 5 things which you will be tested. I seek refuge with Allah, lest you live to see them. Immorality never appears among people to such the extent that they commit it openly. Yes, they do. But plagues and diseases that were never known among the predecessors will spread among them. They do not cheat in weights and measures, but they will be stricken with famine, severe calamity, and the oppression of the rulers. They do not withhold the zakah of their wealth, but rain will be withheld from the sky. That never happens. And were it not for the animals, no rain would fall on them. They do not break their covenant with Allah and His messenger, but Allah will enable their enemies to overpower them and take some of what's in their hands, unless their leaders rule according to the book of Allah and seek all good from that which Allah has revealed. Allah will cause them to fight one another.
Okay, Isa, if you were an atheist, would reading this make you believe in Islam?
Not even close.
man.
Yeah, dude, you need to do better. You need to say convincing stuff. I'm a professional debater. I'm not convinced by silliness.
So the word that you're looking for is muhajirun.
Muhajirun, sorry.
Yeah, the muhajirun wal ansar. Yeah, these are like the people who traveled.
The merchant. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's hard because I think people have to understand what people value, and a lot of times people are assuming that you value what they value, and it's like that, and that's not true. You can't project what you think on other people. You got to understand that people have their own individual wants and needs,
Mm-hmm.
So you might be persuaded by this type of thing, but other people may not be persuaded by this. So just assuming, and unfortunately, the hadith as a corpus is extremely esoteric. Like, it's very difficult to even understand what's even being narrated because it's very much 7th century Arabian cultural narratives. If you're not from it, you're not going to understand this stuff like 7 Ajwa dates and the type of even the language. It's the way they translate it's extremely archaic. It's not like you were reading it, you're like, I don't know what the heck is.
What the hell is this?
And like, if you think that's going to persuade some, like, hadith are a really bad place of trying to convert people to Islam if you want to convert someone, because when you read it, you're like, what is even going on here? This guy said to this guy who said to this guy, and you're like, I'm not an Arab person. Why would I care about this like Arab lineage of people carrying this type of narrative? It's not going to persuade people who aren't born into that narrative. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about hadith sciences later. We're going to talk about adada. We're going to talk about Huh?
I understand your ignorance because, first of all, if you don't even understand what is
No. You're going to calm your tits and you're not going to call anyone ignorant here. Are we clear? Because right now the only ignorant is you, because you keep failing again and again and again. So calm your fucking tits. You don't insult people here. We were having a nice chat. Just calm down, all right?
My question, what would be the ignorance of this? The thing is, we're talking about anthropology here. So if you have a certain worldview where this is valued, that's true, that makes sense. If it's not valued in another system, you can't impose that value. They say there's an axiom, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's just the way it is. You're not going to come in and be like, I'm going to persuade people of this narrative. It's difficult. And you're saying, the different hadith scalings you have, Sahih, Hasan, Da'if, you have these different kinds of scalings of basically who the narrators are. Like, are the narrators of good character? We're going to talk about all this. I'm going to try to hyper simplify it because it is really complex. But you
Yeah,
know,
I'm very interested, and I'm so glad. Like, dude, here we are. We explore things. Like, we've read a bunch of stories from all over the world. I put effort into trying to learn the meanings, the culture. I've read the Bible a bunch of times. I'm in the process of reading the Quran. But here we subsister is laughing at me, professional. Like, yeah, we are professional debaters here. We do this like a lot for like, and we get paid. So like, it's that's the definition of professional.
well,
Okay, we have another verse. Hold on.
I was
What
going to
is
say one last thing to you. Also, it's like the idea, like people saying, "Well, pork is haram," right? To you, that's not a convincing case. You don't care about that. That narrative isn't persuasive to you. So it's
No.
problematic if someone comes and says, "Well, pork is bad," and it's like, well, in their worldview, it is bad, but in your worldview, it's not. So you have the person who's trying to convince you has to make a strong case. They can't just use a case that would persuade them, because that case that
Okay,
persuades them would not necessarily persuade you, and that's the issue.
okay, I understand, but can we objectively prove that pork is bad for your health? Can we objectively prove this? So both parties will know that this is bad. Can we?
Irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know that you can prove that water is bad for your health too, right? If you drink 5 liters of water at once, you die.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It-
if you eat bacon all day and sit on your ass and don't exercise, yeah, it's going to be bad for you. But if you eat bacon in a moderate amount and you exercise and you have a normal life and you have a balanced diet and a healthy life, then it's not bad for you, and that breaks your argument in half.
Are we talking about pork?
Well, why don't
Yes.
we think about the stories in Islam of Muslims who actually successfully convert non-Muslims? How do they convert them? They show them God's qualities. They bring them God's qualities to the person. What God's qualities are we bringing to Max right now? Are we bringing him compassion, empathy, love? What are we bringing
Yeah, that
him?
that wouldn't be convincing because I don't think with my emotions, I think with my brain. So in order to convince me, you would have to make an intellectual argument. You would have to provide evidence. I'm an evidentialist. So even that is not going to work.
Okay, so my argument is the next. Do you think that Islam gave right to women before modern society?
No fucking way. No. I think Islam is oppressive to women. I think that if you want to make that claim, then women should be able to have 4 husbands.
Man, okay, so before proving this, I will just say why a woman can't have 4 husbands. If a man have 4 wives, do we know who's the son?
So
Yes, we do.
yeah,
If a
but
woman has four
yeah,
men,
the
we
woman. If a
can't know
woman
who's
has
the
four
son.
husbands, we know who the mother is. So that
But
gives
we don't know
credence
who's the
that
father.
society. Excuse me, middle of a sentence. That means that society should be matriarchal and not patriarchal. Boom, wrecked.
Okay, can I prove you that Islam gave right to women before even modern society?
Oh my boy,
What?
So
you don't want to
women,
compare
women,
Islamic
women,
society. You don't want to compare Islamic
women were.
society to my
Let me,
society. In my society,
let me,
women are
let me.
completely free. They can do whatever they want. You're not going to beat that.
Okay, so in pre-Islamic Arabia, after the coming of Islam, women were excluded from inheritance. Entire tribe or family were controlled by wealth, and women were sometimes considered as property. They were property of themselves or for someone else.
Women are treated as property in Islam also.
No, no, no.
Yes,
So,
dowry. The concept
so,
of dowry
tell me.
is buying, literally buying a woman.
No, it's marrying her.
Nah, doesn't
I
work as
can
a
bring
counter
up,
argument. Sorry.
I can bring up, I can bring up the word of God in the Quran.
Dude, listen. I don't think you are debate like you don't have the debate capability to go against me. I think you this is not going to convince me. We could stand here until I grow old and this will not ever be convincing. You just don't have the debate skills to pull this off. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, you can keep trying as long as you want. I just wanted to let you know that this is not going to go well for you.
Why
ever.
are you trying? Why can't you just let him be the way that God made him?
Okay, so I'm going to say this again. Did women or could women legally inherit wealth after the coming of Islam?
Oh,
Sure.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
couldn't before. And they
So
couldn't before until in the 80s or the 70s.
yeah, but they're also forced to
Started
wear the sad mailbox costumes.
the hijab, the khimar.
Yeah.
You know why? You know why? Because
Because they think that
women,
men are savages. That if we
no,
see an
men are told
ankle,
to
we
do,
just can't control ourselves. But I
no,
see half
men,
naked women a lot in the beach, and I don't care. I've never
men
grabbed
are told to
anyone.
lower their gaze, to lower their look, to not look into women. Because
Yeah,
it
I
is
don't think that
considered as a
looking at
sin.
a woman has anything to do with anything.
So, why does a woman wear khimar or hijab? It is to
what
protect
is the
herself.
point of
She
these?
is covered. What
I
is
don't
wrong?
value hijab. I don't care what the reasoning is for it. I just think it's oppressive.
Oppressive.
Listen, I'm a DJ. So I used to go to electronic parties where I literally danced with women in bikinis and
Do you think it's
no
moral?
one ever does anything to them unless they want to.
Okay, just asking. Can they get, let's just say, the L word? Great. If they show like too many, let's just say, naked
Oh my
or
god, dude,
things
do you want me
about
to
them.
show you my Instagram? You
Okay,
know what? I
okay,
will. You
okay.
know what? You've kind of earned it. I will show you my Instagram.
Nah, thanks. No, 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 thanks. Thanks, nah.
No. We will. Yes, I will.
Okay, do
That's
you think it's a good,
that's
do you
not
think it's a
Nahid
good
talking.
way of living your life? Dancing with
Oh,
women and
look! First,
looking at
first thing that
naked
pops
women?
up on my
Just
Instagram.
asking. And you're proud about it, just asking.
Yeah, I don't
Astaghfirullah,
care. Like
astaghfirullah, I
this
know.
girl lives in the house, diagonal to me.
Diagonal.
Astaghfirullah. Just don't bring this up. Delete this, yeah.
Oh, is this a Uruguayan woman?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think I
He's
might need
telling
to
him
come
to
Uruguay.
delete it.
I think I need to come to Uruguay now.
Oh, Isa.
Astaghfirullah.
Yes. You come
It's
here.
not Nahid talking, guys.
You know what? You know
this
what
is
I
Febo.
always say. We have drugs and bitches.
Can I ask you something? Something really deep?
Well, you know it's not
If
Nahid.
you had
Nahid
the
is
mother, let me
Asian.
say something.
Yeah, and
If you
Nahid
had a
is muted.
mother or a sister, would you like her to be in this state?
I don't mind. Like, dude, my sister goes to the beach like that. I don't care. It's not a big deal for me that
And
a
do you like
woman
people
wears a
saying,
bikini.
and do you like people, and do you like people saying at them like this? Your
I
mother
don't.
or your sister?
Don't care. Doesn't affect me at all.
In our society, we are very desensitized to this. It's like seeing the color blue outside in the sky.
Yeah.
We don't
Doesn't
go
change.
outside and go,
Dude,
oh my god, the sky is
my-
so hot today.
we have the beach here. My mom wore a bikini to the beach. No one gave it ever a second thought. I'm pretty sure my dad went hubba hubba, but no one like it doesn't. Dude, this is not going to go well. No,
Okay.
we
I'm not
value
sure.
different stuff. I don't see a woman in a bikini and I have to have her because that I've been raised differently.
Oh, we got John.
Evening all. How's everybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's been a little while.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. You, Max? You?
You know me. I'm
Yeah,
always fun, freaking tastic.
Always happy. How is Issa getting on?
I'm doing all right.
You're
We're just
good.
having an interesting conversation here.
Yeah. I saw. I didn't see the debate. This is the first time I've been trying to get my sleep regulated, which is why, because of the time difference, you've not seen me a fat lot. But yeah, you're definitely not going to convince Max.
Mr. Fettel is working on getting Max to join Islam. You know,
I think Mr. Fettel is trying to get Max to never join Islam.
But I mean, the argument of hijab, it's tough, man. And pork, hijab, these are very strong arguments.
Well, yeah, try to get Max to give up bacon and clad his bitches head to toe in cotton. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a great move, to be honest.
As some sister said, he's got Max right where he wants him.
I had Max at Halloween Kareem, and that was the closest we got tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like there are so many aspects. I think the problem that you've got is I was having a conversation similar to not similar to this, but around like the positives and negatives of Islam the other day, and I actually used you as an example, Issa. My example was that if like in the UK we had got to a pretty good place where it comes to things like gay rights and stuff like that. You know, it's a source of deep cultural shame what we did to Alan Turing. And we got to a place where we've got civil gay marriage, gay rights. Whilst it's not perfect, we got to a really good place. Now, if you were to, for example, import 4 million Wahhabi Muslims into the country, you're essentially importing theocracy that wants to make gay relationships illegal. However, if you imported 4 million Isa Kabirs into the country would actually get better in terms of equality and morality. And obviously, now I would describe Isa as a much more sophisticated person with regards to the interpretation of Islam than like a Wahhabi who just takes close to a literal read on the text. So when if you're trying to reach out to Max, I would go down the Isa Kabir route, not the "but me Iron Age goat herder said." Basically.
Mashallah, that is such high praise, Issa.
Well, thank you, appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, that's why Isa and I are friends. Is because he doesn't take those silly positions, and like he doesn't try to convince me.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, hold on. Okay, we're getting more verses. Oh boy.
I definitely think it's the case that you know, you're more likely to convince people that your system is better by righteous and virtuous action. Something that you said before is really important as well. Like what you value colors everything. For example, the society that I live in, I have a son and I have a daughter, and I do not want to see a system that marginalizes my daughter and says, for example, that if she were to give a witness statement in court, then you would need 3 then you would need 3 women to back her up over the testimony of one man. That's not an equal system. And because I have a son and I have a daughter, I would never advocate for the system that was going to put my daughter at such a massive legal disadvantage.
Oh, I think I'm starting to get to Fetal because he's a little bit frustrated now. In their heart is a disease, and Allah has increased their disease. And grievous is the penalty they incur because they are false to themselves. Don't care. Sorry.
Remember, Fetal, chapter 2, verse 62. So you sent him a chapter 2 verse, but you sent him the wrong one.
On the day when their tongues, their hands, and their feet will bear witness against them as to their actions, on that day Allah will pay them back all their just dues, and they will realize that Allah is the very truth that makes things manifest. Women impure are for men impure, and men impure for women impure. And women of purity are for men of purity, and men of purity are for women of purity. Dude, who wrote this? A toddler. These are not affected by what people say. For them is forgiveness and provision honorable. Oh, okay. I know I am pure because I get tested every 6 months, benefits of # free healthcare.
He linked you to an ayat from An-Nur, but not the part about the Nur.
No idea what that is.
That's wild. The An-Nur is God's light, light from as if it were an olive tree. Like, I can't believe these verses he's sending you.
The problem with this approach, Fetal, is that you are coming to me as someone who believes that this book is from Allah. I don't think that this book is from Allah. This book is 100% human. The argument, and this is an argument I'm very proud of, this is an argument of my own authorship. What gives away that this book is from humans is that the Quran introduced new words into the Arabic language that weren't there before. But then the Quran also uses loan words, which are words that come from other languages. That is a quintessentially human thing to do. So that gives you an inconsistency when you claim that this book is from Allah, that has the capacity to introduce new words into the language, but then also, on the other hand, uses loan words, which is a fundamentally human thing to do. And that is the Max's linguistic argument for the human origins of the Quran.
Fetal is doing that thing where he's getting frustrated from not being able to convert you. So now he's telling you what happens if you don't convert.
Don't care, because you haven't proven that God exists. You would have to prove that God exists first.
Like why, Fetal? Why? Why not send him 2435 instead? Why send him 24 anything else?
Yeah, I mean,
the Arabic language introduced new grammar. Well, you have to know that the Arabic language wasn't fixed. It wasn't fixed. The Quran fixed it.
Yeah, languages are not fixed. That is something that we know.
Yeah,
I know how language works. I'm bilingual in Spanish and English. You don't want to get into a linguistic argument with me.
Not to convince you of anything, Max, but just for kicks, let's read 2435.
24.
I mean, when I've had these discussions, it's almost like a given where
that's 35.
The person who's trying to convince you is of the assumption that you believe as well that there is a heaven to go to. So, like, I just like, and that colors everything that you're looking at. Like, most of the time, what seems to happen when I have these discussions with Muslims specifically, they approach you even as if you're like a Western atheist, they approach you as they're trying to convince you from another religious position into their religious position. Like, and I understand you're following what you think was, Jesus and Christianity, but but Islam is a later revelation, so you should really be following Islam instead. I'm like, no, I don't believe any of it. I don't like you first in order for you to convince me that your instruction book to get into heaven is the correct instruction book, you first have to convince me that there's an actual heaven to get to, and that your instructions, the end goal of your instructions, is valid in the first place. Then we can have a discussion about which instructions get you there. But until you've done that, this is all irrelevant.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
read
Probably
this,
have been
and
low
I will finish off Fettel because it's getting boring. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The parable of his light is as if there were a niche and within it a lamp. The lamp enclosed in glass, the glass as it were a brilliant star lit from a blessed tree, an olive, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil is well nigh luminous, though fire scarce touched it. Light upon light, Allah doth guide whom he will to his light. Allah doth set forth parables for men, and Allah doth know all things. Oh, that's a little bit more poetic than the childish verses that we read before.
This is my favorite verse in the Quran.
Now, okay, Fetal, I'm going to finish you off because I'm bored already. So, Fetal, do you believe? Do you accept the idea that people become morally accountable after a certain age?
I would say yes.
Okay. So, if we want, and the people that die before becoming the age of accountability, those people go directly to heaven, correct?
Well, let me explain it to you. If
It's a
someone
yes or
dies,
no. It's a yes or
and
no
he don't,
question.
can you
In
repeat the
Islam,
question?
it's a yes.
If someone dies and
If someone dies before the age of accountability, they go to heaven. It's a yes or no.
yeah, yes.
Okay. So the best thing for me to give to other people would be to go around killing people before the age of accountability. So in order to get the most people to heaven.
Sounds good to me.
Me too, to be honest. That's a great idea. We didn't think of that,
Okay.
to be honest.
So now, because I am
Islamic-
willing to, because I am
Islamic
willing.
Parenthood
One
sponsors
second.
plan.
1 second. Because I am willing to sacrifice myself, and I'm willing to put myself to hell in order to send these hundreds of people that I am going to exterminate before the age of accountability, in order to send them directly to heaven and to Allah. Allah will be so moved by my self-sacrifice that I will also get to heaven. Those are the inconsistencies in your theology, because it's false.
I love this.
You
Planned
know what
Parenthood
is more inconsistent?
sponsored by Muhammad.
Is that killing
Hold
someone
on,
will
John.
get you to hell, to be honest. So
Huh?
when you kill someone with the idea to get him to heaven, actually you're not following the logic of Islam. Because you're killing someone.
It's not logical.
Stop. You just
If you
said
say
you.
something
I asked
new,
you two questions. You said yes to both. So I am following the logic of Islam. Said so by yourself.
But you forgot that killing is haram.
exactly.
Yeah, but I self-sacrifice. So even though it's haram, Allah will be so moved that I'm
Do
willing
you
to
think
send so many people and sacrifice myself. I mean, I
do you
don't care
think
if I go to hell. That's
that
fine.
would wanna die?
But I'm just trying to point out the silliness of thinking that people go to heaven automatically before a certain age.
Okay. So as an atheist, can you do whatever you want?
Yes.
Can you go kill the president or rape kids or
Yes.
do many bad things like that?
Yes.
Then
The
why don't you
problem
do
is
it?
that I've done as much of that as I wanted, which is 0.
Well, the exact same thing in Islam. You can do this because it is haram and Allah forbid it. You cannot sacrifice yourself by
Yeah,
sacrificing
I
others.
don't need it. Don't need people to tell me what's good and what's bad. I have a brain. I can think for myself.
He saw the Wizard of
Do you think
Oz.
that watching naked people or naked women is good? I mean,
I'm
the Quran
sorry?
says no. Do you think that watching people who wear bikinis and naked women is good and being proud about it? Because Islam is against it.
Islam
Yeah.
is.
So
It's
I'm
your
not sure
moral
Islam is
code.
against looking at that Instagram
Right,
there.
hang on.
look,
Also,
there's a bunch of people here, and no one
Do you
batted
think
an
that
eye
even a moral life
when they saw my neighbor in a bikini. No one cared.
Yeah, you're in a voice chat full of
is surely
Muslims
issue?
right now.
also, it's the case that like the argument that is made by by Muslims similar to yourself, Vettel, here is that it's a bad thing for women to put themselves on display because they then become temptation to men. Your argument is, and I don't often say this, but that is like one of the most like patronizing and arguments ever. Like, oh, you men are not capable of self-control and of controlling your evolutionary given urges in a modern society. Therefore, what we need to do is force the object of our desires, in this case women, to give up their freedoms and their liberties because of our lack of self-control. It like that's ridiculous. Like,
Did he leave or oh
No,
no,
he's
no,
he's
there.
still
I'm
here.
saying,
Melissa.
no.
So far, two Muslims have failed to convince me. Maybe you can convince me to follow Jesus. Let me just tell you, I know the Bible way more than the Quran. You're not going to do better than either of them. Just FYI.
yeah.
But there's a link right there. If you feel confident that you can convince me to follow Jesus, then click it.
And the thing, Fettel, is
Let me give Nahid another shot. So Fettel, you need to you need to come up with arguments. Just when you come up to an atheist, just throwing them verses of the Quran is not going to help your case, because I don't care that I believe that book is false. That book just was written by people who wanted political control over the geographical
What?
area that they were, and they went around conquering and killing people. So I don't think it's not going to end
Do
well
you
for
even
you
know the
just
story of the
citing verses
Prophet?
of the Quran. It's not an argument to
well,
quote stuff.
And
Melissa,
quoting
Melissa,
the
come
well,
here. Come,
yeah.
click the link there. Top of the
Quote-
side chat.
quoting the Quran at Max is like trying to convince him to cook one of 100 recipes out of a recipe book that is 100 amazing recipes for eggs if Max is allergic to eggs.
Yeah, Fettel, I also think
Kind of
you're tackling
argument.
things from your societal perspective, but Max is from a different society. Your
Yeah, I'm
culture
from
is completely different from
I'm
like
from Uruguay.
you're not tackling things from an Islamic culture. You're tackling things from the culture of your country.
Yeah, I'm Latino. We're filthy. We are born dancing.
Like Islam for Max is going to be completely different from Islam for you.
We're born dancing, shaking our hips. Right?
Yeah,
So
and
no, it is not going to work.
to be honest, the problem, like you're right in that pointing to like the culture that the different cultures that people come from. Like one of the biggest headaches I've got right now, and with the culture that I'm from in the UK, is we're having some serious cultural friction between Islam and the West, and that's because like Protestantism in the UK, which is our national religion, is a very mild-mannered, mealy-mouthed. Like you can go, like there are Protestant Church of England churches where you can, as two gay men or two gay women can get married, and we're essentially like we've got to a really, really, really good accepting place, even within our religious institutions. You know, and now we're importing one of the worst examples of like totalitarian theocracy en masse. The problem I have with it is that there are people within my culture who are using that to claim that all Muslims, all of Islam, is evil, and I don't think that's the case. It can't be the case because there are altogether too many good men and women who ascribe to Islam who don't want to do those horrific things to, for example, the gay community.
Oh my.
So like you could pick up the King James Bible and find some really fucking horrendous stuff in that. But the thing is, in the vast majority of people in England who would describe themselves as Protestants or members of the Church of England don't hold those views. So this cultural grind that we're getting right now isn't going to be solved by pointing to my book and
Hold
throwing
on one
quotes at it.
second.
I like this guy, John.
Melissa, stop repeating, read the Bible and citing. That's what this guy was doing, and he failed. Click the link, come give me an argument, so I can actually talk to you and show you how the Bible is just as false as the Quran. This is not convincing at all.
Something about the gay community. What do you know? How do you know something is moral or immoral?
I love this $5 chat that got sent. You know, if soulmates are real, mine is sitting in her room playing video games, and the only way I'll meet her is when she 360 no scopes me from across the map.
I approve. Hashtag love of my life.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Bismillah.
Praise Jeebus.
So my question was, how do you know something is moral or not?
We think about it. Is
Yeah,
it conducive to well-being, or is it not conducive to well-being?
God gave everybody consciences, so if they're in a different religion, they'll still know right from wrong because God gave them a conscience.
Well,
I think it's just an intellectual exercise. You think, okay, is this activity something that will improve mine or someone else's life, or is it something that is causing harm?
Well, it also depends what you mean by moral as well. Like if your opinion is that there is a moral lawgiver and this is this I have selected this particular moral lawgiver as my God, for want of a better word. But that's not how my moral compass doesn't work like that. For example, I sit somewhere between being a virtue ethicist and an emotivist. My gut reaction on emotions is that they're essentially moral intuitions that we all have that have been bestowed upon us by the natural world around us. And then once we decide something is good or is bad internally, we then retrospectively try and justify it with a rational argument. So under that paradigm, like somebody picking up a book and telling me, "Oh, this is the perfect moral law of God," I'm going to read it and I'm going to apply my intuitions to it. So the book doesn't fucking help me.
So just ask you this: what is the base or not? What is the natural purpose of sexual organs?
Reproduction.
I'm gonna answer it. Sexual organs are biological,
reproduction, but
or your created mode of production.
Reproduction, but hey, it's reproduction, but there's a reason why humans have particularly extremely pleasurable sexual encounters. It's because otherwise we would have gone extinct.
Well, this is what I was about to say, Max. Like, yeah, fine. As far as we can, as best as we can tell,
have the same about kids.
Yeah, but the primary function of our sexual organs is to engage in sex and for procreation, right? Yeah, of course that seems like that's just a truism. That seems to be the case. And almost all of the religions around the world seem to be twisting themselves in knots with this, in that like the injunction from God, who by whatever name you call God, is to be fruitful and multiply. Okay, fine, but why did God introduce the temptation of sexy time being loads of fun and causing things like orgasms? Surely the injunction from God to be fruitful and multiply would be sufficient without the additional biological hook of making it pleasurable and fun, and then because we acknowledge that it's pleasurable and fun in our quote unquote God-given bodies, he then punishes us when we indulge in it. Like this, it's this old Bill Hicks joke, isn't it? It's like you're supposed to have sex and have lots of kids, but not enjoy sex.
Dude,
Like
he's not getting any of this,
Definitely
like
not.
at all. This guy
You
is
know
a
why?
newbie.
You know why? You know why?
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because is doing everything that you want necessarily good? The answer is of course not. So that's why God
Depends on what.
decided
Because I think that
having a listen.
if you do whatever you want, as long as you're not like breaking the law or hurting anyone. I used
How do we base the law?
hook up with a girl that loved to be choked. So generally, one would say that choking is bad. This girl liked choking, and she asked me to choke her. So I choked her, and it was good.
Well, also
Life is complicated.
But it's also what like just because something like, and that's like a is it okay to cause physical harm argument, which in that instance makes perfect sense. But for example, let's keep it in the realms of keep it in the realm of sex and consent. Like, I'm married. I have made a promise to my wife that she is the woman who I love. She is the only woman who I will do my best to continue loving, and I will only have a sexual relationship with her. Right now, if my wife, for example, said, if I roll over in the morning, I give her a cuddle and go, "Hey, honey, I'm a bit horny this morning." She goes, "Oh, I'm really not in the mood, darling. Maybe later." And I then continued and went ahead with it. Now, even though she's my wife and she's the only person that I have said that I will have sex with, that to me would be a moral crime because I have just violated her consent. Now, but it is also the case that if my wife said, "Oh no, I'm not in the mood right now, honey," and I fucked off and went and found somebody else to have sex with, I would also consider that a moral crime, despite the fact that the other person that I have sex with, both of us are consenting, and my wife technically isn't involved in the consent process between me and the third party. I have committed a moral crime because I've stepped outside of my marriage and I have broken a very important promise that I made to my wife. Not just to my wife, but also in front of my whole family as well.
On the other hand, there are people who have an allowance to bang other people, and I think that's fine as long as everyone agrees. It's all
Does this
good.
cause harm?
Don't care. Tim Davidson for $5 says, and if soulmates are real, in one person marries their soul runner-up, doesn't that throw the whole system out of whack? Yes. That's why you should just bang everyone you can.
I think all these ideas of adding Flavor Flav into the book is way wrong. We have to start at Run DMC and Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Melly Mel, and go from there.
So, also, I'm gonna ask this again. Does the LGBT, does having a relationship with not the opposite gender, with the same gender, can cause harm?
How?
Yeah, you need to define what
Sexual,
harm
sexual transmissible viruses and like STDs.
You know that you can get STDs with people of the opposite sex, right?
Yeah,
You know you can get STDs.
Well, let
no, it's not.
Let me put it this way: having
the sitting all day doing nothing,
the risk,
and you may have developed a risk of heart attack. Then why going to do something bad? That's the thing. If you go to
No,
make
you're
harm,
wrong. You're wrong.
you
Citation
die
needed.
in minutes.
You're just wrong.
You're just
It's
increasing
roughly
the
the
weight
same.
of it.
The only reason why male to male relationships have a smidge more chance of transmitting, it's because of the mechanics of anal sex. But it's pretty much the same with I don't, this is probably news for you, Fettel, but there's women that love anal.
I was
There's a
about to
lot of
say.
those. There's
I was
a
about to say,
bunch
like,
of those.
if you look at the rates of
It's
STD
haram.
transmissions, if you look at the rates of STD transitions with male gay relationships, and then if you could find a community where they were heterosexuals but they only ever had bum fun, I suggest you would find the rate of STD transmission would be exactly the same, because
Pretty
it's
much
to do
the
with the
same,
fact that you're sticking something in a bum hole, not to do with the fact that they're gay.
Well, it's actually it's micro tears in both the penis and the anus.
I think that Tim forgot to send his $5 with this message. Tim Davidson says he doesn't kink shame unless you have a humiliation fetish. Then ew, you're into that?
Very good. I like you, Kaja. You're fun. You're fun.
Layering the consent on the consent.
That's my childhood friend, Matt. Kaja and I go back all the way.
Oh, I
been
mean, I figure because like he's just like you. He has like, he enjoys the jokes. He understands like my position. He's overall a very pleasant guy. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's been a chill night so far. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, Melissa keeps spurging out. Oh, Melissa, click the goddamn link over there, because it's not fair. Like, if I start giving my arguments as to why you're wrong in all of these verses that you're sending, it's not fair that you don't get to reply to me. So click the link and we can have this conversation, and you can be the third person that I beat tonight. Tim Davidson for $5 says roses are red, violets are blue. I've got something nasty, and now so do you. No, no. So, do you have anything else, Fettel? Because otherwise, we were going to bed when you arrived. We stayed because the boring debate got kind of fun, but I'm starting to get bored again.
Do you want a verse from the Quran again?
No, dude, verses of the Quran won't work. We could sit here and read the whole Quran, and it will have the same result. You're not going to convince me by just throwing me random verses of the Quran.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for the Quran, doesn't work for the Bible, doesn't work for the Torah, doesn't work for the Bhagavad Gita, doesn't work for the Book of Mormon. That's not how you convince me. The way that you convince me is you need to make an accurate, a sound and solid argument that is valid, and you would have to start by demonstrating that God is real. That would be step one. You haven't done that, and you will not be able to do that.
Well, also Fettel, like when I mentioned like same-sex relationships and like the permissiveness of some religious societies, but usually non-religious societies around same-sex relationships, you then decided you went from making a deontological argument, a value-laden argument from your religious position, to trying to make a utilitarian or a consequentialist argument by pointing out a delineation between STDs, between heterosexuals and straight couples, which doesn't actually exist. So it's a bad example. But you know, religions do this all the time. Like you know, there are Muslims that go, well, actually, pork is bad, and we know it's bad because of trichinosis. But flip through the good book, I find no examples, nothing that could even remotely be translated to trichinosis. You know, this is just a retrospective justification for why pork is bad. And it's like, well, look, God must have revealed this to them because they had no way of knowing this at the time. So just follow the instruction. It's the old argument that Christians and Jews make, is that there are 613 commandments here, and we follow the ones that make sense to us and the ones that don't make sense to us, because the ones that do make sense we can understand, and we have trust in the person who wrote all the commandments. Therefore, we follow the ones that don't make sense as well, because there must be a good reason that we don't know about.
Oh, we have a flurf in the chat. Oh, adorable. Sorry, I caught that, and I was
Yeah, I mean,
surprised.
long story short, like from a moral point of view, if you can point at like an instruction in any religious text and give me a good reason, like a utilitarian or a consequentialist reason that follows my goals, i.e., the increasing of well-being for myself and the rest of society, and the reduction in harm for myself and the rest of society, then I'll follow it. Not because it's been given to us by some deity, but because it actually achieves the goal that I have in mind, which
I have
is
a
the increase in
sorry,
wellness
sorry.
and the reduction in harm. And that's
I
it.
have
Like the God
a
is redundant.
I have an argument as to why they
Okay.
forbade pork and also shellfish. It's because those meats go bad very quickly, and they go bad sneakily. And
Yeah.
in the case of pork, because they will kind of eat anything. There's a very likely chance that they also develop parasites. So it's just that it's dangerous. But now we give antibiotics to animals, so we can eat them safely. It's no big deal.
Well, so you got to look at where the cultures come from as well. Like you know, last time I checked, the closer you get to the equator, the hotter it is, and all of these religions have their birthplace in hot, sandy fucking places. Like when you're in the north of England, believe it or not, leaving a slab of pork, outside, it doesn't go bad quite as quickly as if it's been baked in the sun in Palestine or Israel. It just doesn't. The same mechanics aren't at play. The environment informs these things. So yeah, completely agree with Max there on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I prove you that God exists by simple logic?
What?
Can I prove you that God exists using simple logic? If you follow me.
Oh, you can try, as long as you know that you're going to fail.
Okay.
But yeah, go for it.
Okay. So
Introducing the Kalam cosmological
begin,
argument, everybody.
does everything that begins to exist has a cause?
We've been through this. We already went down this
Fe-
route. I told you. Second law of
Is it
thermodynamics. The universe always existed.
Yeah, Fettel, the
therefore,
Kalam.
that's great. Well,
Good,
that's
good.
great.
Like you saw it coming a mile away, John. Good job there.
Yeah, I don't like everybody. Can I? I've never met a religious person who said, "Oh, I can prove God exists," and it's always a first cause, prime mover, some variation of the Kalam. It is an infinite reduction.
Let me ask the chat.
Okay.
We all, Vettel, we all know the argument. Dude, you think that you're dealing with people that haven't heard this
Can you
before?
even disprove
This
it?
is what we
Can you even
do.
disprove it?
We gather here and we talk about this stuff. So let's put number twos in the chat if you are not convinced by the Kalam cosmological argument.
I didn't even finish, man.
Why? We know the argument. There's no
Well, in
need.
fairness,
No.
I mean, it could potentially be some variation that we've not heard before. In fairness, like I doubt it. I seriously
Oh
doubt
my
it. But in
God.
fairness,
Yeah.
it could be.
So just listen to it. You're gonna lose nothing if you know that it's false.
Yeah,
So-
time. I've heard this a
so-
million times.
No, that's a new one.
Yes.
I invented it. Okay, so
Fettel,
those
Fettel,
everything that
Quran
begins.
262. There should be no compulsion within religion. Honestly, I feel like you've been embarrassing me a little bit.
Bismillah.
Brother, just say in which month are we?
I'm sorry.
Which month?
Between your lame arguments and your, let's say, trash can microphone, it's very hard to have a conversation with you. You have to at least be graceful enough that I'm trying my hardest. So
Okay.
get the argument out, and will be
So
this will be the last one, because I am extremely bored. This is like I could debate you while ODing on heroin and foaming at the mouth. This is
so
I could turn off my
the
brain and
universe.
debate you.
So does the universe must have a cause outside of itself? Outside of itself.
Baseless assertion. There can't be
Which means
outside.
yes or no.
You would have to demonstrate that there is an outside universe. Outside of the universe is even a possibility.
Okay,
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
not convincing at all.
this must be no. Therefore, this cause must be an outside of time and space, even material itself, because it is
Oh my
created.
God, stop. If you are outside of time and space, you cannot take action because actions happen in time. Creation is an
Therefore,
action that requires time.
Yeah.
therefore, how do we
Fettel,
explain everything, the cosmos, and even the universe?
yeah, but
It
By
was,
your
Fettel,
we
understanding
already
of that,
told you, it was always here. Matter cannot be
the Big
created
Bang
and
was always
destroyed, just
here.
transform. The
yeah,
universe is always been.
Fettel,
Can you
like
prove it to
you're,
me? Can you
yeah,
prove it
no,
to me? Just prove it.
Fettel, you're the
That's a
to
reversal of a burden of proof
yeah.
fallacy, but okay.
Firstly, you don't get to say, "Hey, look, I can prove to you that God exists," and then Max goes, "Yeah, but you can't demonstrate to be the case." And then you about face on him and go, "Oh, well, you prove to me that your position is true." Like you literally started this out. You started out by
I mean,
going,
either his
"I'm going to prove,
position
I'm
is
going to
true or
logically prove
mine
to
is
you that."
true.
You said, "I'm going to logically prove to you that God exists," but firstly, and the way that you were going to do that was to state that there must have been some kind of cause outside of space and time for the universe to exist. But you're using the intuition of cause and effect that we have in this very sort of middle-sized world that we live in.
And why is it wrong?
But you're going, Fettel, you're using your intuitions of being a fairly insignificant mammal, and I'm not saying that you're insignificant. I'm saying we're all insignificant. A fairly insignificant
So we
mammal on an
shouldn't use our
insignificant
intuition.
planet
So,
in an insignificant
so
part
you
of our galaxy. The galaxy itself being an insignificant part of an unbelievably massive universe that operates around the laws of physics that we don't intuit on a day-to-day basis. And this is becoming so frustrating because, just as an example, like a water skate on a pond gives not two shits about gravity. It is more concerned with water tension, and its intuitions will be built around surface tension on water and not gravity. We do not have our intuitions are entirely built all around like gravity and the scale at which we operate on this planet. There are physical examples, and I wish Leo was here because he would explain it far better than I do. He has a much better understanding of it. But there are examples in high energy physics where you can flip cause and effect. The effect precedes the cause. And you're using your intuitions around cause and effect, around the creation of the universe. We don't even know if time existed, if it means anything to say that the universe was created. And you're trying to sit here and use a logical proof for the creation of the universe, like and we even the problem that you've got with the Kalam cosmological argument, which is what you're referencing here, is everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. Even if you could demonstrate that to be the case, there's no way that you can demonstrate that your particular god is the cause of it. And the other the second issue is that premise 2 has a gaping fucking hole in it,
disagreed with
in
me.
that we don't know that the universe began to exist. That's just an intuition that you're using.
Yeah.
Okay, so the universe didn't begin to exist. Can you explain then the Big Bang, the theory of it?
I
So
think it would be a complete waste of time because you're so out of
Because
your
if you
league
can,
on this topic. But the Big Bang
no,
just
no.
refers to the expansion of the local presentation. You can have an infinite cycle of expanding and contracting universes, and we are just one iteration of it.
When
well,
did
I
we
mean,
discover this?
the way they used to call it the Big Bang and then the Big Crunch, which we think is actually which we think is wrong. Essentially, when it was before we realized the fabric of the universe itself is actually expanding. The mechanics of the universe, we used to think when the Big Bang was first hypothesized, which was actually a pejorative term. Like it was some guy, Polyev, and he was actually a Catholic priest who first hypothesized. He described it as the cracking of an egg. But we thought that it was it was Newtonian, in that essentially it was a big explosion that was driving everything apart, and then the gravity was going to suck everything back together again. But now we know that there is some kind of there's some energy being poured into the universe from somewhere that is causing the fabric of the universe itself to expand, which is why stuff goes outside of our event horizon, because it does eventually expand away from us faster than the speed of light. But that's rudimentary physics. I doubt Vettel is going to even get that.
No.
Okay.
The problem with the Big Bang, Vettel, this is partly a problem. Hang on, Vettel. What I'm getting to here is, you look at the Big Bang, and when the Big Bang is used, like you're interpreting this as physicists and astrophysicists, look, this as being like the beginning of the universe. It's not the beginning of the universe, and this is where we've probably let ourselves down with how we teach this. We don't make it abundantly clear, or not as clear as we should, that this is just as far back as we can see. We're blocked from seeing beyond it because it's a very high energy state that we can't see beyond. That doesn't mean there's nothing beyond it. We just can't see beyond it.
And Vettel, like I told you, if this argument was going to work, it would have worked the first 500,000 times that I heard it. Better explained by people who are potentially smarter than you. And
yeah, it was convincing for Iron Age goat herders, but once we started looking outside of our solar system to the rest of the universe, it became completely fucking irrelevant.
Like, honestly, Fettel, wouldn't you rather talk about jazz music and debate if it's like the highest form of music, or just like artists playing random notes into random instruments?
Jazz is stupid.
No.
Just play the right notes.
See, you got to debate.
Just this.
I got to be honest, Max. As my intuitions about you, as a hedonist, I would have thought that you'd have liked jazz, like the discord of it.
I like the sound palette. I find it a little bit dull.
I kind of got the idea that he wouldn't like jazz very much.
No, it's yeah. I like music to dance to. I like electronic music that you can dance and rub yourself against
automatic
a
lover.
Max, can you go to this?
Fettel, what does this have to do with jazz? This better have something to do with jazz.
Well, jazz was created, therefore it comes from matter, and we know that matter comes from the greatest expansion, which is the Big Bang. This is a verse referring to the Big Bang in the Quran.
The Big Bang.
Oh no!
The Big Bang created
is not
jazz.
In the Quran.
No.
Oh my God, no!
This is the same reductive nonsense that you get with Christians, where they point out that God stretched the stars over us like a big tent, and they claim that is a reference to the relatively recent discoveries in physics that the universe is in a continually expanding state. It's a retrospective justification of something that couldn't possibly have been understood.
Everyone is going to lose their shit with this.
Alderaan, there's no Nahid. Nahid got blown up just like Alderaan.
With power and skill, we construct the firmament. For it is we who create the vastness of space. Where is the firmament?
No, it's not this. Wait. The translation is just so bad. It doesn't even say this.
I mean,
another translation.
I'm sorry. You're telling me that what's on screen is not on screen?
No, I
think he's saying he said the translation was bad, which.
I I mean, that just seems like copium, but okay. Which translation do you want?
I mean, if you do have Sahih كلمة عرب, let's go.
Sahih
Yes,
right
yes.
under. Yeah, it's right under Yusuf there.
And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander.
Is the universe expanding? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And now tell me how man 1,400 years ago did even
Yeah,
know
but
this. He
Yeah,
didn't
you
know
know
it.
that
It
you
was
know that
revelation of God.
yeah. You know that they have these people that look at the sky. They call them astronomers, and they measure where their stars are. And yeah, it had, by the time Islam was there, we had people that looking at the sky for a very long
Do you know?
time, and
Do you know? Do you know how do we discover?
there were catalogs of the stars moving.
Man, it was the Earth moving, not the stars. First thing. Second thing, when did we
No,
discover? When did we
everything is
discover
moving. Nothing
that
is
the
static.
universe is expanding? How do we
But
Everything is.
discover?
but
We
Fatal, you're just
discovered throughout the infrared. No, no, no. Let me tell you the story. How do we discover that the universe is expanding? There was an
No,
astrophysicist.
right.
I
this is
forgot
a
his name.
nothing
So
And he
burger.
was looking
so
at the sky. He saw that some
the problem,
stars
Fatal,
have. Yeah.
Fettel, the problem that you've got here is that you're taking something which can be interpreted in well, it
Many
can be
ways.
interpreted in as many ways as there are minds to interpret it, right? It's very, very, very non-specific, and you're applying it to a very, very, very specific phenomenon that we are only just beginning to try to explain in our universe, and you're drawing a straight line in knowledge from this to that. So I'm gonna let me lay down a challenge for you. Can you please flip to the page in the Quran that gives us a detailed explanation of electron tunneling, please?
Hmm.
Oh, is it
Why
not
do you
there?
need it?
Well, because it's not there, is it?
Okay, then prove me that the theory or that the universe was always here and there was no creator before.
Mr. Petal, what grade are you in?
No, no,
Oh
because
boy.
you can't prove
Another
everything and not
another
prove everything.
reversal of the burden of proof. Your God existing is not the default position. You know that, right? People are
Well,
born as atheists, and then they're indoctrinated into a religion.
Well, actually, I would say they're born as atheists or agnostics, but yeah, you can't make it as like because of the semiotics of how belief works. Like you can't claim to have the antithetical belief position to a claim if you've never heard the claim before. So Graham Oppy coined the notion of being an ichtheist to try and stop the argument between atheist and agnostic. So ignorance of a claim doesn't mean that you've made a decision about the claim. So at a minimum, I would say that people are born ignorant of either the belief or the lack of belief, or or non-theists. Basically, everybody's a non-theist when they're born, and then
okay.
the concept of a god is introduced to you. At which point you then begin having a belief on it in one shape, form, or another. But there are some prerequisites to being a theist or an atheist, and the prerequisites are an intellectual capacity to understand the claim and an intellectual capacity to interrogate the claim and come to a decision.
I
But
like this John guy. He's objective.
Okay, then can you prove me or can I prove you that these prophecies predicting the future which have happened? Is that enough
Sure,
for you?
sure.
Great, of course.
Please don't
So,
bring up the one about building tall buildings. You will get destroyed on that one.
yeah, no. There is no way. Do you even know what Bedouins were or how
Yes,
did Bedouins behave?
yes. Do you know that they also
What
built?
is even a
Do
Bedouin?
you know that the Bedouins also built structures in the middle of the desert to make ice? So these people were
They
already
didn't
they
compete.
knew how to build stuff.
No, no. They didn't build
No, no,
houses.
no.
A
It's not
Bedouin,
an
a
No,
argument.
Bedouin
no, no,
is
no, no, no,
someone
no
going
touching
to
women.
water
No,
and
no.
to, let's just say, food places and places they can eat. When Bedouins started competing into
Yep, yep, yep.
buildings, this was very recent. Matter of fact, where is the highest building on earth? It's Burj Khalifa in Dubai,
Yeah. So
in the middle of the desert.
You can counter his no
So-
no's with the land before times. Yup, yup, yup.
Yep. I mean, you can't say that a prophecy is a prophecy when you have people that have access to the prophecy and that are actively trying to fulfill it. That is just silly.
Yeah,
It would be like me saying, "Oh, I'm going to grab this and throw it," and that's a prophecy because look, I fulfilled prophecy. There you go.
You did it.
Everyone, submit to
Okay,
me. I will be
I'm going to
taking
give you
your money.
something
I
you
will be
can't
taking
complete.
your money now.
Can I get food?
I'm going to give you something you can't complete. The prophet said that the human body have 360 joints.
Chapter and verse.
Of course, of course.
but hang on. But how? Even if that
He
is,
didn't. He's lying now. He's
but,
just
but
straight up lying.
even if that is the case, it's not like we hadn't like. I mean,
It's not like Muhammad didn't go around killing people.
yeah, I'm.
Nah,
It's.
you don't even know his
But
story.
my
He
my
never
point is that
ever
to
killed
but
innocent people
it's
or
to
defended his
hang
places.
on.
Dude,
The
that
only
is just a
time he
stolen.
attacked
If the
was
claim
because he
exists,
defended
which
his
I
places.
doubt it, that is just
Yeah,
a
okay, he
stolen
killed
claim
people.
from the people
What
that
did he
practice
kill?
medicine in ancient
You,
Greece.
Fettel, the problem that you got is
clearly
even
contained
Fettel.
Fettel,
Talk for
Fettel,
law,
even
Fettel.
media.
Fettel, even if what you're saying is true, was there anything that would have stopped somebody from that era just going and finding a body, cutting into it with a knife of some kind, and just counting the joints? Like, at least with
Okay,
like,
okay.
hang on, at least in the cutting edge astrophysics, where we now know there's some kind of energy pouring into the universe causing it to expand. At least if that was actually categorically stated in any religious text, you would have an argument that it would be like, given the technology of the time, that would have been something that would have been very difficult to observe. Counting bones in dead bodies which are littered all over the fucking landscape is not a challenge.
Yep.
Okay,
It doesn't do,
so
that doesn't
can
do
you
anything.
okay. I'm going to destroy this argument because do you know the joint inside your ears? Your ears. You
The
have
ears
three
are
bones in the ear.
cartilage.
No, you have three bones in the ears actually, and
Well,
there is joints in
the
it.
bones.
And
The bones.
those joints are smaller
The
than
ear is this. The ear is this, and the ear is
you have
cartilage.
bones in
What
it.
you
Well,
mean is the
yeah, but
inner ear.
yeah, he's talking about the inner auditory meatus, the iams, which is sort of like the canal, and then you've actually got a spiral shaped structure in
No,
there that's got fluid and hairs in it, which is part of the ear, which is how
I'm talking
we get
about
our
the
balance from.
hammer.
It's basically an
No.
internal
I'm
spirit
talking,
level.
Fettel, have you
I'm
ever
talking
played
about
Doom Eternal?
yes.
Oh, isn't that a banger game for Muslims to play? Like, you get to swing all around with a meat hook double barrel shotgun killing demons. Wouldn't that be more fun right now?
Wait, he's the
And again, I think that all of these claims about
Fortuna.
medicine and about anatomy and so on, all of this is just from the text of Galen.
Well, you also do.
Galen.
There's no requirement this to be like revealed deistic knowledge of some kind.
Oh my God.
Any observation that you could make, like, let's even again, like being as generous as I possibly can, even if the Quran made some accurate medical observation about the inner function of the human ear, like the only thing I would need to do as an Iron Age goat herder in order to make the same observation is to bash somebody's head
May I
open
ask
on a
you
fucking
something?
rock. It does. It's
Yeah.
not.
May I ask you with simple logic, when did we discover as human beings that the human body contains 360 joints? When? With which
It doesn't
technology?
say
And how many years?
360 joints here anywhere. The messenger of
Wow.
Allah said every joint of a person must perform a charity each day, that the sun rises. To judge justly between two people is a charity. To help a man with his mount, lifting him onto, hoisting his belongings onto it is a charity. The good word is a charity, and every step that you take towards a prayer, it doesn't say anything about 300, you liar.
But
It was
also, like, when to state, like, so you said something that's quite
Revelation.
important there, Fettel. You said something that's quite important there. You said, when did humanity discover that there were 300 and whatever joints in the human body? Well, we could have discovered that knowledge and lost
any
that
point.
knowledge repeatedly over the 200,000 years of the modern, like, Homo sapien existence, right? All it would take is for some curious individual to cut open a body and lay all the bones end to end and count the joints, right?
Or
That's all it would
you
take.
don't even have to do that. You can just find a skeleton and say, like, oh, I wonder how many bones and how many joints does this make, and then just count.
I mean, again, yeah, you could. The only issue I'd say is that, like, there are some joints which are cartilage which wouldn't survive the decomposition process. So you would be better off doing it with a at least a recently dead, not just finding a skeleton, because there'll be some joints that you wouldn't see. Like, for example,
it was kind of not well seen. I think that even Da Vinci had some trouble to study anatomy. He had to, like, literally grave rob bodies to actually study anatomy, and it was kind of frowned upon.
Well, it was obviously because at the time, or at least from what I understand at the time, is that the belief was that when the reason that people were buried and why suicides had their heads, they were decapitated before they were buried, is because the belief was that when the resurrection occurred, it was the actual physical bodies that were going to resurrect and walk around the earth. You know, the graves were going to fall open and whatnot. So yeah. I think that in order to gain the knowledge, it required desecrating a corpse, which would have, it was some, you know, obviously if it's the physical body that's going to come back, then you damage it more than is necessary. I think that was the issue that the church had.
What do you know about Islam? What do you know about Islam?
Right now, I know at the very least, I know they can't convince me that this is real. You're doing a poor job of representing Islam right now.
It was
Fettel, do you know where you can find Santa?
Yeah.
Where can you find Santa? Only in Lapland. Come to Lapland, they've got Santa.
Yeah. Like Fettel, what you're doing here is, as Dragon Sword in the chat is pointing out, I'm going to paraphrase. Essentially, what you're saying is, look, the Quran says that humans have 10 fingers, therefore everything the Quran says must be true. Like it doesn't. It doesn't follow that even if the Quran is right about this bit or that bit, it doesn't mean that everything else in the Quran is true.
What kind of thing do you need to believe in Islam? That's it. That's the argument I need.
Oh my God! I told you repeatedly. That's a better question. I told you repeatedly. You will have to first prove that God is real, and then you will have to prove that Muhammad was a prophet and not just some crazy person having hallucinations. And then you would have to give me, and this is the most difficult one of all, you would have to explain all of the freaking contradictions that the Quran has.
Well, which contradiction? So then we just
hang on.
Oh, you're going to love this. Hold on.
Well, also, Fettel, like, there can be contradictions in it. There are contradictions in encyclopedias. There are contradictions in modern textbooks. Every religious text is laden with contradictions. But then you end up in an irrelevant discussion of, well, actually, I interpret that verse this way, and you interpret that verse this way, and if you interpret it this way, there is no contradiction. So you end up in my interpretation is better, and then you just reignite all religious wars. Let's not do that.
Do not interpret a religious text from different perspectives.
This is why John's the GOAT.
Religious texts have one understanding, And that one understanding
That
can give
is, that is
different meaning.
no,
That is
that is
exactly what
you're
I
One
just said.
understanding.
buddy,
Exactly
buddy,
what he just said.
you're
Exactly.
lying
Then you
again.
don't
You're lying
understand.
again because if that were true, then you wouldn't have a whole bunch of different interpretations of Islam: Sunni, Sufi,
Which kind of
Salafi.
different interpretation?
I'm listing them
Please.
out. You're very slow. This is, oh my god, this is so boring now.
Federal, why don't you tell us about your background in Islam? What is your school of thought? What is your sect?
My sect, first of all, Islam is not a sect if you follow the true Islam.
There is
All the
no true
others,
Islam. That's a no true Scotsman
It's
fallacy.
just no true Muslim fallacy. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So
you're
Dude,
saying,
at this point, I'm feeling that I'm abusing this guy.
well, Fettel, like you.
okay.
So
just,
I'm
there are-
gonna
there are
guess you're a
three-
Hanbali then.
but Fettel, like
just this
you
one
asked
Tell
you
me
asked
one
the only
mistake in the Quran, and I'm becoming
the
an
only
atheist.
but the only good thing thought you've had, as far as I can tell, whilst we've been having this discussion, is when you asked us, okay, what would we need in order to convince us? What would make us believe? And you're not going to make. I guarantee you're not going to catch many flies with your flavor of honey by going, well, actually,
Honey?
you know, I'm the only. Yeah, I'm the only person who has correctly interpreted Islam, or my group of people are the only people that have correctly interpreted Islam. That's an unbelievably arrogant position to take.
Yeah,
So
Do you know
it's
about
also
Islam?
especially
This is how I
egregious when
They
I speak to
probably
a
know
bunch
enough
of
to know that arrogance is against Islam. Arrogance is considered a quality of shaitan in Islam.
and we've spoken to many people, many people who all make the same claim. Christians all do the same thing. Different types of Muslims do all the same things.
You will
Dude,
find mistakes in the
I
Bible,
think
in
that
the Quran.
you came armed with a knife to a rocket launcher fight. This is bad.
yeah, and the other thing, something that is worth talking about, Fettel, is the question that you asked. What would it take to convince people to believe? What you've got here is it's the distinction between a trivial claim and a non-trivial claim. And again, this is something that oh crap, what was his name? He was a physicist, famous one. It doesn't matter. What he like the distinction between a trivial and a non-trivial claim is, if I told you that I've got a dog in my garage, well, if you know me and you trust me, you would believe that claim to be true, because we know people have garages in their houses. We know people keep dogs as pets. And because I'm trusted, you would have no reason not to believe the claim. If I told you that I had a fire-breathing dragon in my garage, that is a non-trivial claim, because our inductive experience of the world is that fucking fire-breathing dragons don't exist anywhere except in people's imagination. So you would then start, you would have a distrust of the claim. When you ask what it would take for us to believe in Islam, with all of the doctrines, the dogma, and the contradictions that we see in astro and high energy physics that it necessarily leads to, you're making a very, 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 very significant claim where you're going to have to provide us with a huge amount of evidence in order to convince us to believe in it.
All right,
Okay,
I got my first contradiction. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to put it on screen here. These are two verses: Quran 16:15, 16:15. How the hell do I? Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you paying attention? He has placed into the earth firm mountains so that it does not shake with you, as well as rivers and pathways, so you may find your way. Do mountains prevent earthquakes?
Yes.
No, they don't.
What?
Yes, they
That's
do.
it. And with that, we
Let me
are
prove it. Let me prove
done.
it.
Dude, you're
Let
you're
me
cooked.
prove it.
No, you're
Let me
cooked.
prove
That's it.
it.
That's it. That's it.
Why would you say yes to
California,
that?
prove it. California has mountains. California has earthquakes. There. Boom. Done.
What
Yeah,
the hell is
Santiago
even
de
this?
Chile.
Let me prove it.
Santiago de Chile has mountains. Santiago de Chile has earthquakes.
It's not a necessity.
No one said it does, but here it makes an
Yeah.
absolute claim that mountains prevent earthquakes. They don't. I just need to find one
But
example to
won't
falsify
prevent
the
all
claim. It
earthquakes.
has been done. That's it. You're
Yeah.
cooked.
Fettel, look, if you're like this is something where, as far as I'm concerned, religions have hoisted themselves. Like no, Fettel, let me. The problem here is that if you hang on, Fettel. But Fettel, it's the same reason why I have an issue with, like, the reason that I'm an agnostic is I think there are deductive arguments where, if we could demonstrate the premises to be true, would lead us to believe in some kind of deity. It would logically, you can draw a straight line through it. The problem that I have with it is that I'm blocked from interrogating the premises of these arguments in any direction, because I do not have the ability to see beyond the scope of this universe. I don't have the ability to see if there are multiple other universes. We are, like, but by virtue of who and what we are, these imperfect observers of the universe, we cannot make the observations necessary to validate these arguments. And again, you end up with, like, with Christianity, like, where they've made they unstick is if they make the claim that there is an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good deity, then we've now got the problem of evil. We've now got a free will problem, because definitionally the universe is now deterministic. These are internal inconsistencies that make the whole concept. They're essentially claiming that you can't have a married bachelor, but in my case, you can have a married bachelor. In my special case of
that.
What I mean is, like, so they're claiming that there's an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving God that is also a moral lawgiver, but it's completely inconsistent. That, like, you can't, like, God can't be all-loving and moral when there is suffering generated in the world that is not a product of human free will. You can't demonstrate that humans have free will, because if God is all-knowing and all-powerful, then we don't actually make any decisions. We're essentially all NPCs in a computer game that have no autonomy. But then, of course, the point of us supposedly existing in the first place is that we get to either curse ourselves to hell or earn a place in heaven by using our free will, by demonstrating that we're morally virtuous people as far as God is concerned, by engaging in righteous action. But free will doesn't exist in a world where you've got an all-powerful, all-knowing entity that created us all and is responsible.
He's not listening at all.
But these are what I mean.
Not
is
listening and not tracking in the slightest. So
but
we're going to wrap it up.
The issue is...
No, you're not.
Continue.
You, dude, if you're listening, then why do you keep talking in the middle of what he's saying?
Because he's wacky, he's cracky, he's an
egomaniac.
Yes!
Shout out to my boy Nadir. Nadir, stop running away from debating me.
No, because he's talking about Islam. And he doesn't even know the doctrine or the meaning of Islam. Now I am asking you.
You can keep on crying, but dude, we've been through this.
How can you know
we've been through this, dude. There's some things that you need to know, and there's other things that you don't need to know. What he's making is a general argument. He doesn't need to know the doctrine of Islam for his argument to hold true. The problem is that you're not following, you're not tracking, and you're not listening. That it's as simple as that. Paul Schober
Believe
has
in God.
another contradiction here in 2:106. We do not abrogate a verse or cause it to be forgotten, except that we bring forth one better than it or similar to it. That's a contradiction in one sentence. Love that.
Well, the thing that I
Definitely
find
not.
most interesting, the thing that I find most interesting is not so much, it's the motivations for why people
Can I
want to
explain
believe
why it
things.
is not?
Yes, just give her 10 seconds every time.
So, can I explain why this is not a contradiction? What does the word abrogation means? Some earlier comics ruling were
Oh boy,
replaced or
always with the
updated
linguistic
with
bullshit.
later guidance. Man, I'm just explaining to you, you're not even listening.
I know you don't have to explain anything to me. I don't know if you
He said it
noticed
was a
that I've been
mistake.
ahead of you
He said it was a
every step
mistake.
of this chat.
Well, okay, then explain your points.
The thing that I find concerning is why people want to believe, like they bend over backwards to attempt to remain convinced of something that if you take a literal read of it is so on its face incoherent. And like
It's
what
because
why
they are indoctrinated into fear. He's
yeah
deathly terrified of hell. I'm
yeah
not. I don't care.
well no, because my like I don't believe that a hell exists. And what you said earlier, obviously it's I think it Hitchens may have paraphrased somebody else, but we saw it. Ricky Gervais states it quite a lot. It's like, yeah, I do murder and rape exactly as much as I want to, which is zero, and I don't need the threat of a deity to get me to behave, you know, in a moral and virtuous way towards my fellow men and women. But I guess, like, if you had convinced yourself and a number of your peers that, you know, there was a hell and there was a heaven, and if you did truly believe that if you didn't convert as many people as possible to believe what you believe in order to get into heaven, like if you truly believed that, I can understand and see why you would think that it would be a morally virtuous thing to do to convert as many people as possible as quickly as possible in order to save their immortal souls. The problem is there is no demonstration whatsoever that we have an immortal soul. So I do get like why people can be so have such religious fervor. In the same way as like with my children, like they're going to need a set of intellectual and moral tools in order to navigate through the society that I currently live in. Like if my son grew up to have some kind of, you know, irrational, you know, hatred of the gay or the trans community or something like that, for example, then I would consider myself to have failed him. So I do understand why like, you know, people who take these literal reads want to do what they do. My biggest concern is I think the vast majority of them know that it's not a rational and a reasonable thing to believe. I just think they see it as a vehicle to obtain power and control. And I think it's a vehicle used to obtain power and control, not in a nationalist globalist sense, but rather to continue, you know, the rules in a society that allow them to marginalize their women, for example.
I'm kind of glad that Isa fell asleep. I'm pretty sure that he did fall asleep. Because
Yeah, because this got boring.
Isa would have lost his mind with the dude, Fettel. Just you need to come here more
Yeah.
often. We'll teach you how to make a good argument. You failed. You tried the same thing over and over, and you were just banging your head against the wall. None of that is going to work ever. All of those are the absolute lowest tier of argumentation that you can ever make.
In response to what John was saying,
Yeah.
some schools of thought in Islam believe that hell is existence and that heaven is merging with God, so you can merge with God before you die and get to heaven.
Well, so It was
What school
the
of
fifth
thought?
well, it was the fifth anniversary of my father's death on the 19th of February. It's a weird time of year for me. Always will be. But the it it happens. It was during the coup and all the rest of it. It was just bad luck. But the point is, like, I don't like if the conception of hell is our existence and the conception of heaven is merging with God and there's some kind of escape from that existence. My attitude is, whilst I can understand that, my attitude is very different. I was looking for I did have a bit of a not a crisis of faith as such, but it's very tempting for me to want to believe that I'm going to see my father again when I die, that I'm going to be able to have a conversation with him. And he comes to me in my dreams all the time, and they're both like they're heartbreaking, but I would definitely rather have them than not. But I still can't bring myself to believe that there's going to be some kind of life after death. But also, the thing that concerns me is, like, that means that we're not going to want to make the most of this right now if we think that all we can do right now is suffer, and there is some kind of afterlife that's going to be better, that's going to be some kind of reward for enduring this. I think that kind of attitude leads to lives of meaninglessness. The only life that we know for certain, that we have. So
I think that's fair.
And just so I wrote this ages ago. My life has meaning because it is short-lived. The beauty of thing is not held in its longevity, but knowing how briefly it will last, and how privileged we are to have been here to witness it. In a few short years, I'll be gone, a small pile of ash in the ground next to my father. My children will mourn me, and their lives will go on, enriched by the memories we shared and the lessons that we taught one another. It is the most beautiful of gifts to have loved, and to live and to love, and to ultimately make way for one's children. It is the last step that they take to becoming the man or the woman that they were intended to be. They cannot take that last step of independence with me standing behind them and looking over their shoulder. If you need the promise of everlasting life to find beauty in this world, then nothing will ever be enough for you. Nothing will satisfy you. You will forever be wondering if you have done enough to secure your place in paradise, not realizing that you have it already. When I die and cease to exist, my last thoughts will be knowing that this is a necessary sacrifice to make way for my children. It is a debt that nature demands, and I'll pay it gladly. That's just my philosophy on life. Like, we're here.
Were you
now.
reading that from something, or did you like that was just straight out of your heart?
Oh no, that's what it is like my view. Like, I wrote it. I wrote that about 6 months after my father passed away.
I think that's beautiful, and you're definitely on a good path.
But it also,
alhamdulillah for you sharing that.
I mean, I don't think it was on this channel. I think it was on the previous channel, which we won't go into. That I read that ages ago.
I think I'm aware.
Yeah, it's just how I look at life, and even the notion of there being like an afterlife that is somehow better than this, I think somehow damages what we have right here, right now. Because there are people that who are genuinely suffering in this world, and they just want to fucking pull that ripcord, And
I think that is why, like, there are, I don't know, for example, Christians focus so much on like charity. It's like, well, maybe we should just fix the problems of this world, and then even if there is an afterlife, just let God deal with that. But make the best of this world for everyone that's already here.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, oh yeah, we do charity, and that's just putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound.
Yeah, it's like this. Oh well, God wants us to live simply and humbly, and like, well, actually, no. I want the modern medical science and the high energy physics, and I don't want to, die in a non-air conditioned, shit smeared tent of syphilis or my rotting teeth. You know,
Yeah, I hear where
like,
you're coming from, John. Like through my personal Islamic lens, I feel like modern medicine, air conditioning, etc. I feel like those are all answers to prayers that God received, and that through God's miracles, we got to invent those things through the connection of man, God, God, man. And I think it's great that we have those things of like the psychogenesis, right? Like we should be living life to the fullest because these are all parts of God's creation. And why else are we here other than to experience it?
Well, I think that's the best way that you can. Like, if this life is, and I stress the word if, but if let me just jump into your worldview for a second. If this life is a gift from God, would it not be to spit in his face, to not enjoy it to its full, to not maximize it, to make it the best that we possibly can be? You don't take a gift and piss on it. You know, especially one that is so significant.
I agree
so
with that.
If that's the case, then I completely agree with you. And you know, would that more of your religious compatriots thought the way that you and Issa did? You know, it'd be a better world if everybody did. You know.
Yeah. All right. With that, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Feto, I'm so sorry. You tried your hardest. It wasn't enough, but I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't be enough to even convince one of my little nieces. The youngest one, she's 7. She wouldn't be convinced by this at all. So, people, before tomorrow, I have no idea what we're doing, but we'll probably do something. Shut up! I'm speaking. Max, nothing. You're done. You got cooked. You lost. You didn't make a single point today. That's it. We're going away. It's like 5 a.m. for me. So shut the fuck up. No.
Fettel, do you want to have a beating? Life is more fun when you're bleeding.
Dude, I'll just remove you from the stage if you don't shut the fuck up. I'm doing the sign off. We're going. The show is over. You failed.
Okay, bye.
I gave you like an hour and over an hour or more. I don't even remember. We were like going away when you came in. What?
This is my conclusion. If you want to see,
I don't care. I didn't tell you that you could give your conclusion.
Hang on, maybe he just reads the last page of the Quran.
Oh, that would be nice.
All right, people, thank you so much. Before we go, make sure to do the social thing is like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and just subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can share the lab for the channel. Kaja, it was a pleasure to meet you. You're a delight. You're funny. And any friend of Isa is a friend of ours. And yeah, John, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. And I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll do something probably late. Oh, no, not late. Has to be in the afternoon because on Monday I'm going to get my Spanish passport, so I have to get up very early. Oh, so okay, we'll do something.
Are you coming to? Sorry, are you coming to Spain, Max? Or are you're getting it?
No, I got the citizenship a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm getting the passport. I will at some point. I'm going to Punta Arenas, Chile in December. So after that, I think I'll plan a trip either to the US or Europe. I'm more inclined for Europe than the US right now, especially because with a Spanish passport, you just go down the Schengen line, I think. So, I mean, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, you still, I mean, basically the Schengen zone, it's like 27 nations, which essentially are completely borderless. So you just get on a train and go. It's like being in, it's like the federalized system in the States. It's all the same currency. You just get on a train or a plane and go. You still need I think you still need a passport for air travel, but that's like a security thing.
No, but I will have my Spanish passport though, because that's what I'm getting on Monday. I am my grandfather was Spanish, so I get Spanish citizenship automatically. So what we did was we just did the paperwork, applied, and I got the email that they confirmed after 2 years of like processing. We got the email, and now I'm taking. Well, me and my brothers are my brother and my sister were getting the passport on Monday.
Oh, so if you come to Europe, you might be able to take the piss out of how I say my Z's in Spanish in person.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Oh, do you roll your Z's like we roll our R's?
Well, because the limited Spanish that I know, I learned in Zaragoza, which is just south of Pamplona in Spain.
Zaragoza.
Zaragoza, yeah, or Cervezas. You know, it's the it's like I say chorizo, not chorizo. So
Yeah. Chorizo. Oh, what
Yeah.
the hell? Like, speak properly. I will teach you proper Spanish. All right. Love you all. I am a yes, Krakatov. I am a Spanish citizen. I am a European. Yes, I'm also Latin American. All right. People, love you all. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Have a great night. Bye bye.
Assalamu alaikum, internet.
Salam alaikum to you.